Okay. And hello. Welcome, everyone. It is time.
Nano Beholder just resubscribed.
Nano
for
Beholder,
28
hello,
months.
and thank you. Do I have a playlist of Dalai Lama? No, I just put that one song on repeat. Looking good. I tried to dress up a little bit for the stream. Now, just so you know, I'm still wearing tights. So I'm not wearing a full suit or anything. It's literally the shirt, the jacket, and just tight, stretchy pants all over my blow section. Prove it? I will not. I will not prove it. Back away and show us. No. I will not do that. So we got a little bit of, where are the glasses? All right, hold on. Is this better? I can't see anything. I can literally see nothing right now. I could barely make out what you guys are saying in chat. Neo from the Matrix, huge chat energy. I don't even know why I have these on my desk. It's not like I can see anything. I look like a loan shark. That was a job of mine for a while. I did work at a financial institution. I can offer solicited or unsolicited financial advice. Yes, really. I look like Charlie Day. I've been told that many times. I get that on a regular basis, actually. Am I one of those coffin dance people? No. Do you go break kneecaps? I was not in collections. I made the loans. It was somebody else's job to collect on the loans if somebody didn't pay, which usually does happen. That actually, there's any percentage of loans you're going to make, just bad circumstances. People aren't able to pay. And then it goes to collections, and then the collect people will try to collect. Are we playing slots today? I will never do actual casino gambling on stream, ever. You can quote me on that. We'll play gotcha games, which is like gambling adjacent. I'm the guy who sicks the collections on people. For a while, they were training us to kind of like soft collect before we even made the loan. In the sense that like they wanted people to be ready in case they couldn't pay the loan. The first credit union I worked at was heavily trying to get into lending to all credit scores and all like bands. And obviously the lower you go down in the credit score, there's probably something going on that makes it less likely that they're going to be able to pay. So you get a higher interest rate, and then you also have a higher delinquency and or collection rate. So occasionally, there was one loan that you had to give people no matter what if you had direct deposit. And I remember this one guy came in once, and he had like flat calluses on his hands, like he'd been in fights. You know somebody's a real brawler if they've got those flat calluses on their fists, if you've ever seen that. And he came in and he was nice enough. Like he wasn't mean. Like I didn't feel any level of intimidation at all. Like we had a mutual respect. Like I'm going to treat everyone with respect if they come into my credit union. And based on the conversation that I had with him and what he was talking about, I'm nearly 100% certain he had gotten into a fight and was in some level of danger. And he took the $1,000 that I lent him and he went to he was talking about going to Thailand to fight in Thailand, which was like kind of wild. Looking sharp, thanks. You're not supposed to talk about Fight Club? He was getting the hell out of the country, man. I hope he's doing well. I don't know if he ever paid the loan back. I mean, whatever, $1,000, $1,000. Could probably get you a one-way ticket to Thailand. This was probably like 5 or 6 years ago. I don't know if that could pay for a round trip. I guess maybe it depends on the ticket prices, the season, in short notice. But he was looking to get the hell out of Dodge. I don't know. Hopefully he had his passport. Never dealt with Yakuza. The only time I ever dealt with anything organized crime adjacent is I once had, I had one Italian guy come in and he had something weird going on with his credit. I wasn't able to give him the loan and he was pissed, man. Do you have to be good at math or is there a calculator nearby? I'll touch on that in a second. And he was just swearing me out. And I'm married to an Italian. I understand some of the language they have. And it was just a litany of Italian curses, go to hell, you should die, watch your back. Woo! That was scary. So do you have to be good math or is there a calculator nearby? Literally the lending manager that we had for a while said that she could not pass high school algebra. And the way she made loans was by changing the numbers in the loan calculator until the numbers looked right. So it's good to know math, but it is not necessary. Do I have a gaming PC? I have a gaming PC and I have a streaming PC. Although, because I'm currently doing a Thrustmaster sponsorship, I'm only using my gaming PC for now. Until that sponsorship is over, and then I'll be back to using my streaming PC. I'm the mob hit list now. As far as I can tell, nobody wants me dead. Right now. Well, there might be people that would be happier if I were dead, but I don't think anyone is actively going to be coming from my life. The thrust cam is legal for the stream. Do you want the thrust cam? Do you want it? It's your Patreon, Noxella. It's up to you. I can do it if you want it. GameFAQs is coming for you? Absolutely. Okay. All right. Fine. There it is. Wait. The overlay or the thrust cam? I don't have the thrust cam looked up. And even if I did, I can't show it. I'm wearing tights. You can see my micro bulge. No, I can't do the thrust cam. I can't, it's not set up. And even if it was, I would possibly get banned on Twitch. Not 100%. I don't know. Let's say I was just a complete Ken doll down below and you saw nothing. Maybe it would be okay. But there's something. Looking sharp. Thank you. We are doing an advice stream. How can you be banned if there's nothing? We got to test it out. Does Snape, is he like a Ken doll down below? Just perfectly smooth? In Dogma? Oh, I don't know. I don't remember that. You'd only be micro banned? Oh my God. You're banned for days based on how many inches they can see. It's it's 1 inch. It's only 1 day ban. Get green tights and chroma key your legs out. It's actually a good idea. I like that idea. So this is an advice stream. This was Noxella's Patreon. He wants... There is a guy that dresses up like a gecko and provides life advice. And Noxella saw that. There's this one clip where he's giving advice to a worker at McDonald's who is constantly getting in fights with the people that work at KFC across the street. And he's trying to resolve that conflict. And he saw that. And he's like, I want you to do that for a stream. So here we are. I'm not dressed up as a gecko. I'm not taking his shtick. All right. But I'll do the best that I can. Rebel, thank you. Coden, you too, thank you. Not sure you're qualified to give life advice if you have to fight Alatran naked. You look sexy though. Thanks. Appreciate just it. Resubscribed for 34 months. So sure I guess for the time being, we're gonna go back and forth between advice and naked Alatran attempts. Let's see. There's probably already a couple questions in here. There's already an anonymous question. The first subject is, doesn't the guy stream topless? No, he wears like a Geku custom. Okay, so the subject is spicing up my love life. Hello, streamer, longtime listener, first time asker here. My girlfriend and I love to put on your evening streams as we get ready for bed and then fall asleep. We are often exhausted on weeknights and end up falling asleep quickly, but on weekends, we like to spice things up. What are some new things we can try to spice up our weekend nights while we watch you Pepe Flower? Smile. So assuming I look like a demon making deals. I am not a demon making deals, but thank you, 16.
You look like a demon making
Can't tell
deals.
if a meme or no. Okay, so here's what I would say. If you're going to be spending a romantic evening with your significant other, and especially if you're exhausted on weeknights and you're falling asleep quickly, maybe try to take one night where you don't have the stream on and you just focus on each other. And maybe through doing that, you will find out through communication the things that would spice things up. I mean, it's communication is key in every relationship. And if you're not able to really spend time and be intimate during the weeknights, then really making sure to carve out like a Saturday or a Sunday night. Just really spending one night with each other. 9 Highwind, thank you. Railgun, Morty, It's Peta, Inferno Bren, and Ms. Miko, please enjoy. And butt stuff. I mean, I'm not going to be like, turn up the stream volume and get ready to do butt stuff. Like, that's not, because it's like, that's the issue here. Like, what they're saying is like, they want to spice things up, which is a good thing, right? They're already invested in each other. So that's a really good thing, right? It's not like their relationship's on the outs, but this is somebody that wants to continue to invest in a relationship, which is already a good point. The only thing that's a little dangerous, right? A little worrisome is if you really don't have any time to be together on the weeknights, you really should take at least one night, just the two of you, and just spend it together. Start role playing. I'll be Shepard and you be the Nerd Gigante. Pound me, daddy. Okay, the next question, subject line is simply sex. That's it. That's the subject. The suggestion is, why you so sexy? I mean, all right, so with no clarification, I don't know. Everyone finds something a little bit different, okay? There's a little key to wind up every doll out there, and if I just happen to have the things that works for you specifically, that's great. It can be a lot of things. People find attraction in a lot of different things. So I'm going to try and do this in a real advice. So like, you just want to always try and be the best version of yourself that you can be. And so for this stream specifically, I really did put a little effort in, right? I trimmed my beard. I styled what hair I have. I put a suit on. And a little bit of confidence. Confidence goes so far. Looking in the camera. Confidence goes so far for literally everything, you know? And if you're having a hard time being confident, there's a wonderful movie. I'm sorry. It actually kind of sucks. The movie itself isn't that great, but it's got maybe one of the best lines I've ever had in a movie before. Is this the Naked Life Advice Hotline? Yes. Nice fit. Thank you, Porker Piggins. The movie is called Heist, and it's got Gene Hackman in it. And Gene Hackman plays this character. He's been planning heists for a long time. It's like his position in what he does. He's like the ringleader. And at one point in the movie, somebody's to Gene Hackman. He says, hey, Gene Hackman, how exactly is it do you come up with these great plans of yours? And he says, oh, that's simple. I try to imagine what somebody much smarter than me would do, and then I just do that. And like the way I've always interpreted that, and I've always interpreted it from the moment I heard it in the trailer for the movie, is we all know what we should be doing. And then we all do what we end up doing, right? So we have this ideal version of like, God, I know what I need to do. I need to floss my teeth. I need to exercise. I need to drink water. I need to take vitamins. I need to save money. But then we're like, well, that's not me because I'm human and I can't do all of those things. But if instead you start saying to yourself, I'm just going to do what I should be doing, you take that element of whether you should or shouldn't do, and you just say, that's what I should do and I'm going to do it, then it helps break down that barrier of hesitation. And I've always done it that way, right? And it even went down to like doing public speaking and stuff like that. I'd say, I'm not a confident person. You know, the first time I started doing public speaking, I was a squeaky teenager like everyone was at one point in their life. And I said, I'm nervous, but I'm going to pretend I'm somebody who's not nervous. So I'm going to play this character. And this character is not nervous when they speak. So I'm going to pretend I'm then, and I'm going to put that out. So you create this persona that you do. And then eventually you find that you can do it anyways, and you don't need the persona anymore. You become what you thought you were going to be. Can we get some DMCA free motivational background music? I can maybe put on some wintertime jazz. And that's what I always would do. I would just play pretend, you know? And that always worked very well for me. So faking it until you make it, absolutely. All right, still getting a lot of questions. Did I miss a sub? I'm not sure if I did. Metal Vines, thank you. I'm not sure if I thanked you or not, but thank you. Gotcha advice. Should I roll waifu or husbando Peppy Flower? I think like all hobbies, you should have an amount of money that you know is affordable for you. And I don't think you should feel guilty spending money on pleasure or for entertainment. As for a waifu or husbando, you know, whatever your first instinct was, go for that. And just go with that one. I think that's great. Okay, let's see there. What? I am not answering that question. Okay. All right. So, okay. I'm going to take this question as if it's genuine. Okay. And it says, I'm like 99% this is a meme. The 1% chance that this is not a meme, I'm going to answer it. So people hate me for liking lolly art. I don't get why. I'm going to get to that. My friends all left me after learning that fact, and now I haven't spoke to anyone for the last 4 years. I love lolly art. Is it really so bad? All right, I'm going to take this at face value because that's all you can do. So if you don't understand why, lolly art is probably very adjacent to lolly not art, which is socially, people don't like that. People do not like sexualized children. Now, you know, has there been art of children throughout the ages? Yeah, sure. You know, I'm sure Monet did a picture of a child as well. However, it wasn't modernized in the way that it is nowadays. I don't know. I'm not saying you've necessarily done anything wrong, but I think you need to understand that that's just socially not a thing that people are okay with. You know? It's not going to be the sort of thing that's going to be okay. And that, you know, and is it fair to you or is it fair to the artists that aren't doing anything wrong? Maybe not. But that's not going to change the people's perception of you. Okay. So that's all I'm going to touch on that. You at least are going to understand why. I think you need to evaluate your love for that versus your ability to fit into wider society. What's your costume and are you a car salesman? I would never want to be a car salesman. Although apparently it's pretty good business for that. Fitness. Tell us everything you know about weight loss. All right. So there is like the top law for weight loss. Generally, fitness disc in your mouth. You got him. Looking handsome today. Thank you, Kaze. So the common knowledge and the thing that's very difficult to break away from is the law of thermodynamics, right? In that calories in, calories out. Eat more calories than you burn, you gain weight. Eat less calories than you burn, you lose weight. That's probably true up to 80%, you know. And it's simple if you look at it, right? If your dog's fat, you can give your dog less food and they will lose weight. If you need to bulk up your cow and you need to gain weight, you give them more food or you give them food that's more like caloric dense. That being said, humans are strange and there's a lot of things get into it without even getting into like anabolic steroids. My biology and my metabolism is going to be slightly different than yours. So what works for me may not work for you. Case in point, Jen, she doesn't really do much of anything and she could eat pasta 5 days a week and she won't gain a pound. I will simply observe a package of linguine and I will gain 2 pounds of water weight and just absorb those calories. And so with everything that you're doing in terms of your diet, it's okay to roam around and experiment with the things that work for you. The most important thing for both weight loss and fitness in general, and this goes for everything, but specifically this, it's not what you do, it's the habits you build to reinforce those things that you need to do. So if I know that I eat carbs on a regular basis and I'll gain weight and I don't want to gain weight, then I will create the habit of just not buying carbohydrates that I know I will overindulge on, right? So I used to try and balance like eating well and having like cereal in the house, and I would just end up crushing half a box of cereal for breakfast some days. And that was just a bad habit for breakfast. If you don't eat a lot, your body will go into starvation mode and hold on to everything. Well, so what I would say more so than starvation mode is if you're not eating enough, then you are depriving your body of nutrients and other things that are vital for your body. So you should never go too hard on calorie deprivation in order to get in better shape. It's much better to find more caloric, less caloric dense things to eat that still have lots of nutrition in it. And then whatever ratio of carbs and protein and fat that will be okay for you. Is snacking okay? Snacking's fine. It just, but like, what is snacking? You know, is snacking you eating a protein bar between lunch and dinner, or is snacking eating half a bag of potato chips? You know, and even then it goes into your individual biology. You know, I generally find, as long as you choose, great, foods that you know are tasty and have good nutrition behind them, that it works pretty well for you. So yeah, for me, I drink, I want it to not be active anymore. Okay, that's the jest. I find for me, like if I cut out, all refined sugars and all refined carbohydrates, I'm pretty much fine. And I don't really have to count calories. And it probably doesn't hurt that, I'm trying to lift weights and build muscle as well. So in terms of that, just to take this one question way too far, rather than worrying about losing fat, maybe first focus on building muscle. Because once you lose fat, if you haven't built any muscle, you're going to look all weird anyways. Build up your muscle first, and then worry about walking and training and stuff like that. How long did it take to find your current health habit from trying to focus on your nutrition? I probably first started experimenting with a low carbohydrate diet back in like 2016, maybe 5 years. And I've gone off and on it. Do I eat much fish? Nah, I don't eat a lot of fish, but I do eat it. Oh, yeah, and so, yeah, Papayapo's saying, I realized eating less gains more weight. You might find that you are not eating enough calories and then you end up just binging periodically and you gain more weight that way. You know, the way some competitive eaters do it is they eat basically nothing 6 days a week, a very small meal, maybe 1,000 calories, and then they do have their 4,000 calorie competitive eating video that they upload to YouTube. I mean, eat a lot of protein, go to the gym 4 times a week. That's a very good way of getting in great shape. I don't even know that you need to go 4 times a week, but if you could fit it in, that's great. Just make sure you have a day for recovery. All right, so there's a lot of things we could do there. But I'm going to go to the next question, which is exercise. Any tips on how to get motivated to exercise? So I would again tie that into what we were talking about before. You know, motivation's difficult, right? Santa Bomb, hello. Because like, motivation to me, I think of it as like, oh, I'm going to get motivated to do something. But there's not a human psyche that exists that is going to get motivated and be powerfully motivated forever, right? You're going to get sick of it eventually. The question is that when you are motivated, right? So, you know, you walk into the bathroom, you look at yourself naked, you're like, I want that to look different, right? I look at my naked body. And, you know, I want this to be larger. I want this to be thinner. I want this to be longer. Too bad. And you take that moment to build a habit that will sustain itself for as long as you can sustain it. It comes down to habits and being like, you know, every other day I'm going to do this thing. And fitting it into your life, right? So, you know, for me, the first time I got really good in my adult life exercising is I found during my lunch break, I was very lucky at my previous job. I had an hour-long lunch break. I found that if I really pushed really hard, I could actually fit in a full workout in 45 minutes. And I said, there's no reason on my lunch break I couldn't sneak into the gym, work out for 45 minutes, and then get back to work. And that was a really great habit that I was able to do until I ended up leaving. But then my habits changed and I wasn't near a gym. And actually I stopped working out because I broke the habit. Nowadays I have a better habit. I was able to figure it out again and now I can do it. I also ate 2 pizzas. Well, that was why I needed to go to the gym. But that's neither here nor there. So I would say take the times that you are motivated and rather than focus on just doing the thing, focus on like building it in as a thing you do. So I always think about it like, was the gym right next to it in the same building? It was like 5 minutes away, less than 5 minutes away. I could just drive right over there. Think of it like, you know, you wouldn't wake up in the morning and not brush your teeth or take a shower or get dressed for work, right? These are all things that you do as a habit because you have to do them every day. Think about it as it's the same sort of thing for yourself in that. And yeah, and so for a few, I'm like, you know, if you can't afford to go to a gym or you don't have the time to go to the gym, you could always start with just going for a walk for 1 mile, you know, or whatever that would be, 1.5 kilometers. You know, you could always build that as a habit. First thing you do when you wake up, put on some gym shorts and a shirt or a hoodie or whatever, put on your sneakers and just walk for 20 or 30 minutes outside. It's close to the most free thing you could ever do. Why not 2 miles? Very good. You could eventually work up to 2 miles, but you'll find that as you start doing more things to improve yourself, you start thinking about other ways that you can improve yourself as well. And so before I started exercising, I'd started doing a low carbohydrate diet. And in the process of doing that, I was eating a lot of protein. And so I lost a bunch of weight. And then one day I'm like, hey, I'm eating like at least 100 grams of protein a day. I've gotten a lot of weight loss, but I'm not looking perfect yet. I'm not looking, you know, at my best shape. I'm already eating all this protein. Why don't I just start lifting weights too? And so you start getting all these add-on effects that come from taking one good habit and then seeing how it builds up over time. Oh yeah, I mean, if you're already there, Porker Piggins, I mean, you're in, dude. I mean, you're in for perfect. Okay, saving up. With the little amount of savings I get every month post-spending, it's a few hundred, where would you recommend I put it in? Bank, investing, or just leave it in my wallet? And for larger amounts, where could you recommend saving it or investing it somewhere? Sorry if this is vague, Pepe Flower. Also, you look chiseled today. Thank you. So I don't know what country you're from. And before I say anything, I'm not a fiduciary. I am not a financial advisor, not an official financial advisor. I am not an accountant. Do not take any of this as financial advice or accountant advice. It's just some guy that knows a little bit. With that being said, this is not tax advice. This is not financial advice. With that being said, if your workplace offers a matching amount for anything that you invest into a retirement plan, you always want to be maxing that out. Nice suit. Thank you. So a lot of places I worked at, they would match the first 5% of your paycheck every pay period up to the 5% of what you're investing. So by doing that, like it's literally free money. Like they're just giving it to you. It's just extra money. So you always want to be hitting that first. And when it goes into retirement, it all depends on like how early you want to retire. The amount that you save as a percentage of your income is directly related to the amount that you're going to have to start spending up in terms of years for how early you end up retiring. So for me, I always put as much money as I could from my paycheck to the point where I was still taking back enough home that I'd have enough to live off of, and then a little bit of just emergency savings. And then I would put it all out there right away. Now, I work for Twitch now. No, I don't. I mean, I work for you guys, whatever. I am a streamer now, so I don't have anybody managing that for me. Jen does, so we have her set up. She's actually doing 20% of the amount that she makes every paycheck automatically goes into retirement. For me, if you're a private person, if somehow you're ever in the situation where you're making so much money that you're starting to see like thousands of dollars adding up, and you've already maxed out your retirement, you can look at things like Charles Schwab. You save 20% yourself? That's great. Charles Schwab has a pretty easy system set up so that you could pretty easily move money from a personal account into a brokerage account where you could buy stocks. And then again, like, I'm not going to give like specific stock advice. For me, I'm a fan of index funds. I don't think investing in specific stocks is great. There's a lot of risk in an individual stock, but if you're investing in something similar to, the S&P 500 or some category like that, you're going to have a pretty hard time going wrong. There's a IT specific, Vanguard index fund that specifically puts money into IT specific stocks within, the S&P 500. That's nice. If you want to invest in a lower maintenance cost index fund other than SPY, VOO is a good index fund that from Vanguard that is a lower maintenance fee than the overall S&P 500. So, it sounds really, really complicated. There's a lot of financial advisors out there that want to take a lot of money away from you. My advice is if you're young and your employer is offering you matching contributions to go into a retirement account, put as much as you could possibly afford to put into it and put it in the riskiest category that you can for the long term, and you'll be fine. Like if you're 20 or you're 30 or you're 40, you can afford for the stock market to go down. People always worry about being in risky stocks. And it's true that the stock market, risky stock categories will go down really fast, but they'll also go up more in the long run. Most of things are great. Yeah, I mean, the risk that I think about isn't that the money's going to go down in the short term. My concern is you have it in an investment where it's not going up fast enough. If you're just having money sitting in your wallet or a bank account, it's earning basically nothing. And nowadays, we don't know exactly how much money is being inflated, at least in US dollars. It's probably between 4 and 6% right now, which means if you're not earning at least 4 to 6% on your money, you're technically losing money if it's sitting in your wallet or if it's sitting in just a bank account doing nothing. How does one put money in stocks? I mean, like I said, like you can pretty easily set up a Charles Schwab bank account and get an investor's checking account and move money into that and buy stocks like within a day or two. I'm not telling you what stocks to invest in. I would say me personally, I like to put money into broad index funds that go somewhere around the S&P 500. And my reasoning for that is those powerful companies are so powerful. They also like have their fingers really sunk into the US government. And because like corporations, I'm going to start sounding like a ranting lunatic. They have a lot of influence and it behooves them to persuade government officials to make sure that they themselves do not fail. So if the stock market ever crashes with the S&P 500, we're probably going into like looting, wasteland, cannibalism days anyways. So I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just gonna put my money there and have it. How do you save money for things while also not having it sit around a bank account? Invest some and save some? My first advice is to take up your employer's retirement for the best amount because you don't even see it. And then if it's building up in a normal account, you can use a brokerage and make sure, I always make sure, you're looking at your IRAs and stuff like that, make sure those things are maxed out. And then going into broad index funds feels pretty safe. Day trading is probably not a smart way to make money either. My IT company works with a lot of financial guys and they make it sound like fine stuff that will pay dividends and such. I mean, for me, like, I've read a good amount of stuff. And like the fact is very few day traders are able to pick stocks that just beat the overall market. So if they can't do that and they're the professionals or the experts, what are the chances that we can? Can you pull the money out when you put a down payment on something? Sure. So when you go to when you go to buy stocks, you simply go, look up the stock and you say, I want to buy this. I want to buy 23 stocks of VOO, right? And then when you want to take money out, you want to say, okay, I want to sell 5 stocks of VOO. The only issue with that is if you start pulling money out of the stock market, I'm not an accountant. I am not an accountant. You start having to go through paying taxes on the money that you earned from those stocks. So it's not that you can't take money out, but depending on how much money you make, if you're pulling out from a normal stock account, you might end up paying capital gains tax on that. And certainly if you pull money out of a retirement account, you will pay a penalty and then also pay tax on that. So just be careful about those things. That being said, I don't think that should scare you from putting money into it. I would say if you're already making habits of saving money in stocks, you will also probably start having habits of saving money for yourself as well. As long as you've got an emergency fund, you're probably going to be okay. As long as you've got, if you're really lucky, and this is the most bougie of bougie people, because most people in the US have less than $1,000 saved up at any one time. But if you're bougie of the bougie, you've got 2 to 3 months worth of living expenses saved up. Anything more than that, you probably don't need to have around. What about investing in cryptocurrency? I am both morally and intellectually opposed to it because what is a cryptocurrency? It is a unregulated, energy-sucking waste on humanity that has no inherent value other than itself. At least if you're putting money into stocks, it is morally dubious, but at least they create something. There's at least value there. You can do Roth accounts if you want to be able to pull money that you put out with penalties. Right, you can pull out the principal investment there. But I don't want to get too deep in that. I'm not an accountant. This is not tax advice. But I'd say always, at the very, very least, always hit your employer match. So there you go. Yeah, if you want to get into crypto, you might as well start getting into crazy, risky options, or just go to the casino. That's fine. Jesus, we got a lot of questions here. Okay, all right, well, we're going to keep going. Changing careers. You're going to have to start paying college out of pocket. Should I start stocks now? Well, so you can take out student loans at 6.8%, or you can invest and maybe make more or maybe make less. What you have to ask yourself is, do you think You have to ask yourself the question, like, do I think if I invest in stocks, it will appreciate at greater than 7%? Maybe, but maybe not. Am I going to look at the Discord? All right. I'm going to take one more of these questions and then I'm going to pull somebody into chat. I'll pull you into chat, Fuzzy Pirate. So, changing careers. Do you ever feel like your time, effort spent pursuing your initial career and education was a waste? What a good question. So, I mean, every bit of education you got and every bit of career, hopefully you grew from it in some way or you learned something useful. At the very least, if you're no longer doing these things, you learned that those things didn't make you happy, right? There's nothing wrong with that, right? I mean, people think about it. I spent 10 years being a taxidermist, right? And I hated it. And I don't do it anymore. Even if you don't use that knowledge anymore, it's not necessarily a waste because at least you ended up learning the thing in your life that thing wasn't helpful for you. You know, I mean, there's this concept in economics called sunk cost. And the idea is if you've already spent all this time investing in it, that doesn't necessarily mean there's extra value in investing more time and more resources into something if you're not getting any value out of it. You know? That's like, it's a very common mental trap people find themselves falling into, you know, and that could be anything. It could be a career, it could be a relationship, it could be a hobby, it could be a business. And you're like, well, I could get out of it now, but you know, I've been doing this taxidermy thing for 5 years. I guess I may as well do it. I mean, if you're not happy with it, like there's still plenty of time to switch courses. You know, one of my favorite, okay, I'm going to be a little bit of a weeb now. I don't care. One of my favorite mangas is, I forget the name of it, but it's about this he's like a late middle-aged man that is going through a bit of a life crisis. And it's kind of like just following him going through these normal or somewhat abnormal life experiences. And there's a point in the story where he's feeling a bit depressed, but then he starts thinking about it. It's one of my favorite, I forgot that. I gotta look it up. He thinks about it and he's 40 years old and he's thinking about how old he is. He's like, I feel so old. And he's like, wait a second. You know, I'm 40 years old. If I live to 80, I'm only halfway through my life. You know, in the span of a day, it's noon, right? If you're 40 years old, you still have the whole day ahead of you, right? You've got at least until 5 or 6, people are still working then. You still have so much time in your life to do so much more with the benefit of all the experience you had before them. So don't feel depressed if you feel like you've wasted a lot of time or sunk a lot of things into something else, because it's never too late to go back and change your life's direction if you feel like you'd be happier in a certain way. And in regards to that, in terms of like, before you do anything drastic, always just think about like, what is the worst possible thing that could happen, right? You leave your job, you leave your relationship, you cut a toxic person out of your life. Is it going to destroy your life? You know, are you going to be homeless? Are you going to burn so many bridges? You might end up being broke and never be able to work again. You know, could you end up not being able to have like a social life anymore? You know, if it's really, really bad, then maybe don't take the risk. But if the worst thing that's going to happen is it's going to be a mild inconvenience, what are you waiting for? You know, it's your life. Like nobody else is going to make your life better for you other than you. Problem is that later on in life, your body falls apart and sickness is more likely. It's true. Certain things get harder as you get older, but certain things get easier too. All right, we're going to take a call. See how this works. All right, Fuzzy Pirate, hello. You should be on the air. Let's hear that microphone. He's here. He's muted though. Jump first. I'm not going to jump. Oh, hold on. I could hear you, but you're coming out of my. You're not coming out of the right thing.
Well, I can hear you.
There you go. You're coming out of my monitor for some reason.
Let's see. I think this is working.
Yep. No, I can hear you just fine now. All right, Fuzzy Pirate. Hello. How's it going? No, you're good. You love listening to me, Shep? There's the VOD is
Well, I
always.
can't hear you. This is so weird. I can hear you on the stream, but not through Discord.
Well, we could talk in a very strange way. Just tell me what's
Wait, I
your
should
question?
probably-
How can I help you?
I don't use Discord. Sorry, chat.
I mean, the advice is go to your device settings and
There
go to
it is.
voice and
Okay.
videos, change your
Oh,
output
hi.
device.
Okay, I can hear you now. Yay.
Okay. All right. So
Yeah.
what's going on, Fuzzy Pirate?
Okay. So, as you know, like, I'm a college student and whatnot, just trying to get along with life. But my parents, because I feel like sometimes they're like really overbearing on me, and it's kind of like pushing me away and stuff like that. Like we don't really get in arguments, but they're like too much in my life, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like I really do love my parents.
You still live with them? You
sometimes-
still both? Yeah.
I mean, I'm not living with them. They're in
Okay.
Georgia and I'm in Tennessee. But
Okay.
the thing is that like sometimes like I have issues with like confronting them or like talking to them about the stuff that like about the stuff that they do to me, or like how like overprotective they are. Like
Yeah.
it just really bothers me because my dad, so I'm 5'2", and my dad is almost 6 feet and
Yeah.
like 200 pounds of muscle. So it's like a really scary person compared to me.
Yeah.
So
big guy.
like it's just I don't know how to do this because it's just I constantly have it. I have a lot of like inner turmoil too that I could face through like on a daily basis, because in the past I've suffered through depression
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So like it's just I don't know how to talk to them because like I'm weird. I get into my head and I have conversations with myself. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, I'll just say off the bat, there's nothing that you're saying right now that is actually all that odd. I mean, if anything, it's actually things that are incredibly common, right? So, you're in college and your parents, and it doesn't matter your size or anything else like that. There's always going to be this transition period for a lot of families where, you were just their baby in their minds just days ago. And it's going to be really, really difficult for them to transition over from the point of realizing that you're no longer a baby, you're now a man, a grown man. And this is going to be a challenge for you. And it's a lot of people in your, age range and group to start setting like a little bit of a boundary. I mean, you're still going to be coming to them for all sorts of things, advice and life and family things and stuff like that. But at the same time, there needs to be a little, like a soft boundary start to put up in terms of like how far they want to go in and whatnot. And in terms of like, teenage depression and angst and stuff like that, that's very common. And, I remember feeling similar to you as well in my teenage and especially my college years. And there's also, there's nothing wrong with that if you've never gotten professional advice to sit down with somebody.
I have. It's just like sometimes the therapist just really, really pisses me off.
Well, they may not be a good therapist then.
I know that, but it's just, I mean, I'm lucky enough to have family that I'm like cousins that I'm really close to where like they're my outlet rather than a professional.
Yeah,
which is probably not good, but like.
Well, it could be good or could be bad because it all depends on those people and then the advice that they give you. I mean, it could be one of them. You're like, hey, I'm feeling really, really depressed, and like, oh, just take some bath salts, right? That would be, depending on the person, right? You don't want to be getting bad advice for them, but at the same time, if you're not able to connect with a therapist that you have and that they're able to listen to you, and a lot of times, like one of the best things that you can get, out of therapy is just being able to vent those frustrations you have on somebody else, and just have somebody unconditionally listen to you, and and just take that pain on for you. That could be very beneficial. So, have you ever tried to have a conversation with your mom, or I think especially your dad, about how you're feeling in terms of feeling like they kind of get a little bit into your personal space a little bit too much? And if you have, how has that gone?
I haven't. I have really bad problems with like talking with them.
Yeah.
Just because like of my past with like medical problems.
Yeah.
Because I know, like I've told you about some of the things, right?
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, I don't really know if you want me to say it or
You
not.
you don't have to get into it too deep. I mean,
Yeah, but like,
in terms of that, it's like, is there some way you could communicate with them that would be comfortable enough for you? Because it doesn't have to be like, let's sit under a swinging light bulb staring face to face in chairs, like eye to eye. Like, it doesn't have to be that intimidating. You know, it could be an email or a text message or a letter or anything else like that. Say like, hey, mom and dad, like, and you know, start off like reassuring them, like, hey, I love you, you know, and I'm grateful for everything you've done. Like, you always start off like a communication like that on a real positive note. But then if you have something that you need from them in order for yourself to feel better, you know, it's important for you to get that out there.
yeah, I really regret. I said something to my mom a few weeks ago. She's like, "Do you not like hanging out with us?"
Yeah.
And I said, "Yeah, I don't like hanging out with
Yeah.
you."
I mean, if
And
you feel,
I regret saying that because it's not true. It's
well,
just,
you were probably frustrated, right? They were probably like getting in your business.
yeah. I mean, they came up to Tennessee's for like the weekend, and they
Yeah.
were with me like for a whole day, and I was just tired of it.
Yeah, I think it's nice. I think you would feel better, and I'm sure she would feel a lot better if you apologized to her for that and said that wasn't true. I was just in a really bad place. And this could still be part of the same conversation, you know? I mean, like I said, like they could be struggling as much as you are because, you know, again, they're your parents, you know, and you're their, you know, again, like they still remember when you were a baby and they were wiping your butt. So it's going to take them a long time to come to grips that you're going to be a man and you're going to be, you know, graduating college soon and be living your own independent life, you know. It definitely could have been a lot worse. So don't feel like there's ever been a relationship that's been damaged beyond repair. Because a lot of times, you know, those hard times in a relationship could actually make it even better in the future. And it could help, you know, help them understand what they can do to help build their relationship with you in the future.
Okay, it's just I feel like it's like a wall. There's a wall that I need to break down.
What's
I
the
feel like-
smallest, what's the, like the most attainable possible way you could have to communicate with them in any way? Do you think you could at least find some small way to communicate with them? Because it's not going to be,
I talk with them once a week.
Okay.
I call them once a week and I talk with them.
I feel like
about,
even
like,
that
stuff.
though, based on the way you're talking about it, I feel like even on a call itself, I think you might have a hard time vocalizing the words, or do you think you could probably do it and talk to them?
It's gonna be too hard. I think
Yeah.
maybe like if I sent them a text.
I
that'd
think
be
that
so
would
much
be
better.
fine. And maybe only because it sounds like it's a little bit more tense with your dad. You know, your mom and
Yeah.
dad are going to talk every day. Maybe start with talking to your
Mhm.
mom. Maybe start with an apology first. You know, and it's really great. Like, it's so liberating when you apologize for something that you feel bad about, because it's like that's no longer on you anymore. You're going to feel great. If you say, Mom, I'm sorry about what I said the other day. I didn't mean it. I was just having a hard time. And then she's going to say something to you. And then you can just be like, by the way, though, the reason I was there is because I'm having a hard time because, you know, I feel like you and Dad are still being a little bit too controlling on me at this point in my life where I feel like I have to become more independent. And she's going to get that 100% because she was just like you one day too. You know, she was an 18-year-old girl or 20-year-old girl or something like that at one point and had the same exact thing happen with her parents that you're having with her right now.
All right.
You know?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Do you think you could do that?
Okay.
Can I
I
message?
think I could.
Can you set a date that you're going to send that to her?
I'll do that on her birthday. I don't mean her birthday's in a week. Maybe I could do it then.
Maybe do it before her birthday. And then on her
Okay.
birthday, you can call her and say, happy birthday, Mom. You don't have to have that behind her. So set a date of before her birthday to have that conversation with her over text.
Okay, I'll do it on Wednesday, I guess.
Okay. And you're going to feel a lot better. Like, you're really, really going to feel a lot better as soon as you say, I'm sorry. And then you start having that conversation with her. And just tell it, like, you know, they're your parents. Like, the fact that they're getting in your business shows that they care. Like, the worst possible thing you could have is like weeks or months or years of no contact with them at all. Just means they don't care, right? Like, it could be so much worse on the other end. We could be having the conversation saying, like, I haven't talked to my dad in 5 years. You know, what am I going to do? Like, because that's like, I don't even know where to start with that. But you're at least talking with them, and they're getting involved in your life, which means that they do care.
Okay.
Okay. I wish you luck.
All right.
I believe in you.
Thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
Also, play monkey game. I'm going to
Monkey
get
game?
lunch.
Okay. Okay, thank you. All right, goodbye. I'm going to take a couple more questions from the suggestion box. Thank you. I don't know if we're ever going to get this naked Elatreon. Gonna get you to a moment, Gator. Where were we? Was that changing careers? Did we do that already? Yes. Old friends. So I think I've lost every best friend I've ever had. Oh, that's hard. And there are a few friends who are still by me or say they are, but I feel like every single friend I've ever had or grown up with has either betrayed me, stolen from me, or disrespected me. Is this just anxiety, or how would I go about resolving this resentment? It's a complicated one. You know, the people you surround yourself with end up defining you, right? And so, am I a certified therapist? No. So certainly you've come to a great realization, which is that the people that you used to hang out with either no longer care about you or were just bad for you in general. And if that were the situation, I would say better off alone. The second part of that, though, is obviously you do seek like actual social relationships, right? You're not saying this being like, oh, well, screw everyone. I'll be a hermit from now on. Some people are okay with that. But I think even the most introverted people out there do want to have a couple friends. Verger, hello. I think everyone wants to have a couple people that they could rely on, confide in. And, you know, it's like, you know, what's the best way to make friends? You know, start with whatever a hobby is, you know? Nowadays is a screwed up time to try and build any sort of advice. I would say definitely don't feel bad about losing friends. It's very difficult to hold on friends, be it high school, college, or anything else. That's just going to happen. People are going to come and go in life, and you can't control that. That being said, you know, if you can think of one person among your old friends that you still like, and that you still trust, you just haven't spoken to each other in 5 years or 10 years or whatever, it never hurts to reach out. They may not exist anymore. They may not reach back. But you could always try and see what they're up to. Otherwise, man, it's hard, dude. You know, I think you're in high school. I look snazzy today. Thank you. If you're still in high school, you got plenty of time to make more best friends. If you're still in college, you absolutely still have plenty of time to make best friends. Once you're working full time, it's going to be about harder. High school friends? I mean, you're gonna lose touch with a lot of those high school friends. But, you know, it takes some effort. So it's going to go one of two ways. Either you're going to be one of those people that don't worry to maintain friendships, and you just got to hope that you're lucky that you're friends with somebody that's going to keep maintaining it. Or you're going to have to be on the other hand, and you're going to have to be the guy that messages once a month or once, you know, every other week and be like, hey man, let's hang out. Let's play a video game. Let's get some pizza. Let's see a ball game or anything like that. That it is that you want to do. I mean, you don't have to be older and only have 2 or 3 friends anyways. Everyone's different. Some people are extroverts and they're going to have 50 or 100 close contacts. Other people are introverts and they'll have maybe 2 or 3 people that they hang out with. What it comes down to is, depending on how badly you want to hang out with other people, is going to come down to how badly it is you want to maintain relationships. You've asked all my friends to play video games with? Well, if they're not interested in playing video games with you, then maybe those aren't people that you need to keep trying to invest in. Maybe you got to find other people, you know? And the ways to do that are myriad. If it's not an in-person relationship you need, if you just need some buds to play video games with, there are a lot of places to do that. I mean, our Discord, of course, obviously, but other places as well, you know? You can have 50 plus friends. It's very difficult to maintain a social group that large. I'm sure there are some people that do it. I'm not like that. But you know, if you do that, you gotta put the effort in. You gotta be out there messaging them, set a time to play together and whatnot. I mean, honestly, the older you get, the more it's like we got to set a night to do something. For me, I'm married. Jen's my buddy. I hang out with Jen. I got one person I hang out with for the most part. And that works fine for me. And you'll probably, if you're in high school, you'll probably get to that point soon. You'll have a special guy friend or a special lady friend, and you'll end up hanging out with them all the time. Depends how busy you are. So don't feel bad about it. My Discord polices itself. You'll find most communities police themselves, because if somebody's out there with some really bad energy and it's not being responded to, they just self-select out anyways. We are Shepard's Twitch friends. We are absolutely Twitch friends. You feel bad? You shouldn't feel bad because, well, yeah, it's okay to feel bad. I'm going to say that. It's okay to feel bad because you valued those relationships and they're no longer in your life. But you can't think of it as you're abandoning them. I'd say be more grateful for the time that you've had together rather than regretting that you don't spend any more time together. And that's about the best that I can say. And that's going to go for a lot of things in your life, in that you can spend the time regretting not having anything anymore, or you can spend the time being grateful for the time that you had. Okay. Do one more question and I'm going to grab Gator. Depression. Hi, Shep. Love you. I've been struggling with my mental health and depression for years. And with the cluster F of the last year and a half plus normal seasonal depression, I'm just having a hell of a time. Could we hear about some ways that you find little spots of brightness in an otherwise dark time? So first of all, very sorry to hear that you've had depression. Depression's the worst thing ever. It's like this little goblin that takes up residence in your brain and will not leave you alone. So don't in any way feel bad or guilty or regretful for this, that's happening with you, because it's not your fault. You did not invite the goblin in. They're just there. Can I find some ways you find little spots of brightness in an otherwise dark time? I guess I'll focus on that part of that question. You know, it is nice, if not a little bit cheesy, on a daily basis to try and find one thing and say, I'm really grateful for this thing. How often do I have this advice stream? This is the first time we've done it. So it could be anything. It could be, I'm grateful for this game that I have in my life. I'm grateful for this meal that I had. I'm grateful for this cup of coffee. I'm grateful for the opportunity to sleep, and anything else. And just really try to focus on one thing a day and be like, I'm so happy that I have this one thing in my life. Because you need, you know, everyone needs, but especially if you have depression, you need to start taking efforts to actively find ways to focus on brightening up your life. And it's not so easy. I'm not going to claim it's so easy. Oh, just be happy. Obviously not. The gremlin's not moving out. The gremlin's taking up residence. So, you know, you need to start focusing on who you really are and what you really want, and trying to deliberately take pleasure in that way. I could say that the obvious things, like try to find a therapist that can help you. In some cases, it's purely a chemical thing. I'm not a therapist. Sometimes it is a chemical thing. And you just literally need a medication to help you. And there's nothing wrong with that, you know, and it may be, you do see a doctor, you do see a therapist, they provide a medication, and it's just not a great fit, you know? That's okay. Get rid of that therapist. If that medication doesn't work, get rid of that medication. You know, it's going to be a challenge. It might be the greatest challenge of your life, finding whatever mix of things that you need, be it a therapist, be it a medication, be it lifestyle changes, to where you feel like who you are on the inside and the goblins moved out. Just know that, you know, the way that you're feeling, the way that you are right now, you're not alone. There's a lot of people that feel that way. There's a lot of people that have felt that way and have gotten better. And that in time, it will get better. I mean, you have to believe that, and it will happen. You will get better. It's just the time that it will take for you to find those things that will get you there. So, not a therapist. What can family members do for family members? Just be there. Be somebody that can listen, and in the most gentle and kind and loving way possible, if you can gently encourage them to do something that might help their depression. Again, it can be a lot of things: exercise, therapy, medication. If it's really bad and they aren't even getting out of bed, help them get out of bed, help them to eat a proper meal, help them make sure that they take a shower. In its absolute worst case scenario, just helping getting people, think about the hierarchy of needs. If somebody's all the way down at the bottom and they're not even showering or eating or taking care of themselves, just help them do those things and just get them up the list until they can actually start like motivating themselves in a way where they can start taking care of the more higher end things. Yep. Yeah. In the most judgmental space possible. And honestly, and this is the part where a therapist can be very helpful, because if you're a friend or a family member, you're going to be tied up in a lot of other things and a lot of experiences. And so it can be difficult to be a therapist for somebody that's so close to you. And that's what makes a therapist a good thing, because the best therapist in a lot of ways is just somebody that you could sit there and you could vent all those frustrations and everything else as well. So, if your country and your healthcare and everything support that, it'd be an amazing thing to have. Otherwise, like I said, depending on where they are, just help them take care of themselves in the way that they can. Realizing that you yourself, you're a person as well. So there's going to be a certain level of which you're able to put yourself out to help that person. You may not be able to do it on your own, and certainly don't take any sort of responsibility on yourself to be able to cure this person of their depression, because at the end of the day, it's their battle between themselves and that goblin in their brain. All right, I'm going to talk to Gator Graves now. Gator, hello.
Yo.
Let me turn you up a little bit there.
All right.
You sound good. Okay. Gator, hello. Welcome to the stream.
Yo, hello everybody, and hello Shepard. So I'm gonna come at you with a content creator question, if you're all right with that.
Okay. I'm only number 3066. So you're only going to I can only give you advice that could get you up to 3066. I cannot give you any advice that would push you past 3066. So just realize that's my upper limit.
All right. Yeah, that is
Is that enough for you?
Fine. That is totally fine.
Okay.
Yeah. So my question is, and this might be a tough question, is determining your value as a content creator. Like, what kind of advice do you have on that?
I feel like the value you have is almost determined by the people that engage with you in a way. I mean, so you have two things, right? You have your intrinsic value of what you've created and how good it is.
Right.
But then you have the reflective value of how the people that consume said content, how they react and engage on it. I'm not sure if I'm answering your question, but it's a dual thing, right? Let's say you've created the best possible speedrun known to mankind, but it's saved on a hard drive somewhere and you never upload it. It's the best thing ever created, but you've never shown it to anyone to be reflected in any way for it to have its value.
Right.
So it's a tricky question. For yourself as a content creator, what I've always said and what I've always felt has always come down to, I like to create for the sake of creating first. So I could have one guy sitting in chat in stained boxers, eating tendies, watching me. And if I can entertain at least the one guy and he's having a good time, I'm feeling pretty good about that.
All right. Second question. Do you have a camera in my house?
It's in the plushie that I sent you. You know that Hinata doll that sits on the shelf and stares down at you?
Oh yeah, okay. So
I see you naked.
That's how you know that I'm naked eating tendies. All right.
I like what I see.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
Was there a follow-up question? Did I answer it at all? Does that? I feel like I didn't really answer it.
That answers that question. I do kind of have like a follow-up question.
That's fine.
Because this is something I actually see with a lot of content creators, and something I struggle with too. Is like, overcoming the fear of like actually posting something. And I'll preface this by saying, like, in like the VTuber community, it was actually like a huge contention point, because like a HoloLive member like made a song, and like in their song they were like, stop posting on Twitter and actually make content, and people lost their shit over it.
Oh wow.
So I guess the idea is like, how do you, and like a lot of people are like afraid of posting content because they're like, it's not good enough.
Sure.
You know, I can't post it because it's not going to be as good as, you know, Hololive girl coronate Inugami, you know, content. So it's like, how do you kind of, I guess, I don't know if you've had that like same fear of like uploading something because you don't think it's good enough or whatever.
There's a couple things. There's two parts that I want to talk about. And the first one is in an approach to content creation, in that I'm not saying necessarily post and then ghost, in that throw your stuff up there and then just however people engage in it, they engage in it. Obviously, you know, if you're going to have people reacting to a tweet or reacting to a YouTube video or something else like that, it is beneficial to engage with those people in some ways. That being said, you could be a content creator with 2 people that follow you, and you could have one person that absolutely loves you and you have one person that hates your guts. You're not making content for the people that hate your guts. You're making content for the person that wants to watch you. So, you know, now, if you're putting content out there that's just pure trash and you know it's trash, don't do that. But at the same time, people don't want perfection anymore. You know, having, you know, I mean, I'm sure you're at least basely familiar with Netflix. Netflix is putting out hot garbage, and people will line it up to the trough, shoveling that hot garbage in their mouth. So,
very much so.
Don't be a perfectionist. You know, if you've created something that's at least good enough, in your mind, you're like, I could spend another 10 hours and I could make this 10% better than what it is. That could have been another 10 hours that you just made another 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 things and put out more stuff out there. I'm not saying to shotgun your viewers or the people that engage you with lots of trash content, but if anyone's engaging you, they're engaging you because you're creating value for them. And, you know, when you're stopping yourself from creating content, be it a live stream or a tweet or a YouTube video, you are depriving the people that are looking forward to you for that content, for be it entertainment or distraction or something, you know, inspiring or educational. You are depriving them of the ability for them to have that because you've never created it, right? So you've got the world's best speed run sitting on a hard drive. You never uploaded it because you didn't think it was good enough. But if you had uploaded it, somebody would have seen it, and maybe they would have a personal life revelation, and it would have improved them in Monster Hunter 20 times over. You know? So
that's interesting to think about.
Yeah, you know, I could go back to a lot of Monster Hunter Try videos that I put out there really early in my career and be like, those things aren't good enough, I have to delete them. But at the same time, you know, I've had Albino Donkey say, all you need to know how to learn to play Monster Hunter is watch my hammer tutorial against a Rathian, and you'll learn everything you need to know. It's not a good video. It's not the greatest video ever, but it was the greatest video for Albino Donkey at that time, and it helped him learn a lot about the game. It's not a speed run. It wasn't the best thing ever, but the way I talked about it, the way I engaged it, worked for him. And you don't know what video or what stream or what tweet or whatever that you're going to put out next. That could be the next thing for the next person that makes them think about something in a different way. And as a content creator, that's kind of what we do is we put these ideas or these thoughts or this entertainment out there, and people engage in it. You know, I mean, it's a weird thing. Like, it's a new narrative, right? I mean, it's not completely new. I mean, radio has always existed. TV's always existed for at least as long as we've all been alive. Movies have existed. The difference is that we get to do it in so much more real time, and we get literally instant, immediate feedback that it feels different. But at the end of the day, we're still creators, and people are still looking to us to create things to help fill the void, be it Netflix or otherwise. So make it for the people that love you, and put the things out there without worrying about the people that are going to bother you. I mean, post and ghost is fine. People bothering you in your chat, time them out or ban them, or use the list. People bothering you on Twitter, block them. People bothering you on YouTube, block them. And just, you know, I'm not saying block out all criticism, but if people are just being truly negative and toxic, they're not helping you make better content. If anything, they want to make you stop making content because they don't like it. And that's hurting the people that would otherwise enjoy seeing what you make.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That's actually, that's really good advice.
Well, that'll get you to 30, 66 and no higher. I mean, if you get higher than me, you got to give me advice.
One last thing I wanted to say before I head out. I'll be a little bit sappy now. I do really look up to you, Shepard. So thank you for being a really good content creator and somebody who I can watch all the time.
You are very welcome. Thank you very much.
Yep, have a good one.
All right, bye. Okay. I mean, I don't have to do it myself. 3067? That's right. I'm going to get pushed down the rankings. Okay, thank you, Gator. We were... Guys. Next subject is highways. I feel my local government is overspending in highway construction. What can I do about it? And kiss my ass. No, I mean, run for local office, maybe? I don't know. Call them up and hold them accountable. Literally nothing? I don't know. Kaiser Colo. All right, I'm not dwelling on this question. No subject. Can't send questions to yourself. Have you had a prostate exam? What age were you? I don't know. I met your dad in my early 20s. I don't know. Ask him. He might know the date better. I'm usually foggy in those sort of things. Exercise and social anxiety. It was around 4 years ago. I want to exercise, but I suffer from very big social anxiety. I've stopped my studies because of it, and I can't get a job because of it. So I wanted to do something in my free time. However, I cannot leave my house without getting mega stressed out. Sometimes I go jogging, biking when it's raining outside, but then there are less people outside, but it can't really become a habit that way. Any tips? So that sounds really rough. I mean, here's the best thing about this is you recognize two things. You recognize that you do suffer from social anxiety, which is a lot better than if you suffered from undiagnosed social anxiety. And you also recognize that you would feel better if you were in better shape. All I'll say is right off the bat, nobody's going to judge you. Honestly, be it in a gym or on the street or anything else. And anyone that does judge you or makes any sort of comment, they're like, that is like the lowest form of human that exists on this planet, because that person is so sad or that person is so miserable in their life that they're taking their frustrations and things out on you. So if you ever were to get a criticism or an insult or something like that from somebody else, don't take it personally. That's a person who is in a very real way, in even worse ways than you are, even at your lowest point. So, you know, you've got two different things to approach. The first one is social anxiety. You know, I mean, we've talked a little bit about mental health and stuff like that tonight, and it goes in a lot of ways, right? Could be that you could speak to somebody. There are online chat rooms and stuff like that, or online therapists if you were really getting in such a bad place that you didn't even want to leave the house. But trying to sit down and talk with somebody in a very judgment-free zone can really help you. The nice thing is what your ultimate goal is, which is to start exercising and getting in better shape, is going to go a very large way to helping your mental state. A kind of side tangent from that is you may find that if it's that you're overweight and you're feeling that you're overweight, exercise actually, it helps a little bit with losing weight, but it's not nearly as effective as like watching your diet, what you eat, trying to count calories and things like that. And I found that when I was trying to lose weight and I was very overweight at one point, I'm like in my 160s now. At my heaviest, I was like 193, 195, which is very heavy for my weight. I found that if I just focused on my diet, I was able to lose weight, and that made me happy. And then, like I said, at a certain point, I'd lost so much weight from my diet and I was taking in so much protein. I'm like, I'll start exercising now. So it's always about thinking about, don't think about the things that you can't do. Start thinking about the things that you can do and start focusing on doing that. So, anybody, within reason can choose what they eat. My manlet? Oh, chaos. This is supposed to be a positive stream. I'll just give you, there we go. You need to focus a lot on the things that you can do, right? So you can focus on your diet, if you can. And then in the end, see if you can talk with somebody, Okay. Friends. Hey, Shep, was wondering what your opinion was on having friends. We had a question like this a little bit earlier today. I am a loner who rarely leaves his home and has not made a single friend or contact in the last 10 or more or so years. I am also shy when it comes to starting to talk to people, and I've always tried avoiding talking to someone if it was not necessary. Be this online, in games, for example, or people outside of my room. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being introverted. All right? Jen is one of the most introverted people I know, but she does have her moments where she's able to break out of her shell. So don't feel like there's anything wrong with you. In general, this never bothered me, but now I've thought that it might be missing out on some great experiences that could be had, which are however hindered by my shyness. Any advice on these mixed feelings and how to overcome them? Thanks in advance. So it's going to be like, people can change, but we all have our baseline that we have to like slowly push out away from, right? So, the most extroverted of extroverted or the most introverted of introverted people probably never started out that way. They probably started somewhere in the middle, and be it choices or life experiences or anything else, found themselves getting pushed into one direction or another. So right now you're introverted, but you don't want to be as introverted as you are because you desire, be it friends or a relationship. You may be young, maybe you're thinking about one day, you might want to have a girlfriend or a wife or a husband or anything else like that. And you're feeling like you're at this point where it's catching up to you. It's a hard question to answer because right now things are so screwed up anyways, right? Like, be it where we are in society, like it's not as easy as it used to be to just like hop into a coffee shop and find like a board game group or something else like that. Like with anything, I think it's best to find one thing that you can do first that is easily attainable, right? So, talking to people online in a game is one of the lowest risk, easiest outreaches that you can do because you're only accountable to talk to these people for a couple minutes at a time. If you even talk to them, right? You could even just be joining lobbies and other people can be talking. You just be part of that group or whatever. But building up with it and being thoughtful about it in terms of how you engage them and how you can kind of slowly push yourself out of the comfort zone is what will gradually build you up and build that sort of confidence in order to be able to start moving further. Because maybe you become friends with people online. Maybe you end up deciding to meet up with them at a convention, or maybe you just, join a local discussion group online for an area around you. And then a couple weeks later, you feel comfortable going out. And when you're doing that, like, remember, you're introverted. You don't have to be the life of the party. Like, you don't have to be that person that carries the conversation the entire time. You could just be the person that's there. For every goddamn chatterbox of the group like me, there's going to be a couple people that are just there just to be part of the conversation and enjoy it. And that's all right. Soluk, hello. What's going on? Why am I dressed so nice? Thanks. Good take. Thank you. We are doing an advice stream. Okay. Muff is in the waiting room. Odd birthday present? Yeah. Muff, hello. Are you there?
I am here.
Hey, how is it going?
It is going good. I just want to announce I am right now in my first own house. I am alone in the first time in like 15 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you.
That's a pivotal point in independence.
Yes. So yeah, my question is kind of a weird one. An internet friend of mine that lives in the Americas. They and me have planned to like, what can I say, export them or transport them over to Sweden, where I am.
You want to bring people from the United States over to you?
Yes. They generally, before I even said I was living in Sweden, have like said I don't like it here in America, blah blah blah, stuff like that.
Okay.
So, and we have like joked about it, because why don't we just get married and get you like into the country that way?
Okay.
Obviously not like actually do it, but like maybe, I don't know. I don't know.
So let's, like, a marriage, the law. All right, there's a lot of things going on there.
Yeah, that's why the option is
getting
like,
married
on the table, really.
to get a friend, immigration status into your country does not seem like a good idea, and may be illegal. Although I don't know. It's going to depend on the laws within your country.
I think we're kind of like, we had a big immigration outburst from the Middle East a few years ago.
And has there been like immigration crackdown and stuff like that? Is that part of the issue?
Many racist parties in government rose to fame.
Right, and so they've made it harder to get a visa over there.
Not really. We have laxed on that.
Okay. So why can't your friend get a valid visa then? Like, why can't they find a job or education over there and come in legally?
Yeah, right now they're trying to get an internship, either in Ireland or UK, to get at least closer. Maybe an EU citizenship.
Okay.
And it is 100% easier.
Well, I'm sure it's a lot easier to get a visa to the EU than it is the other way around and go from the EU and get a visa in the US. I mean, that's 100% the case. I mean, here's what I'm going to say. It is very kind and actually very special that you have a person that you've created a relationship with online that is developed to the point that you'd be becoming at least half married to them or fully married to them to get them over to the EU. However, I would suggest, unless you're really going to get married and actually live with them full time, that person's still a friend, and you have to be, you have to put a boundary at some point with how much willing you're going to help them for them to get standing on their feet. Because, like, how much are you going to be willing to do to get them? Because, like, what if they do show up? What if they do get married and they can't find a job or they can't get a legal work permit? Are you going to be able to support them? You're just living on your own. You're still learning how to support yourself. If they can come over there and get an actual job and they're going to have an employment and they're going to move in with you and be a roommate and carry their share of the expenses and stuff, I mean, that's awesome. I mean, that sounds great. I mean, hey, 100% to that one. But I would be generally hesitant to invite somebody into my household 100% with no obligation or strings attached and just have them live there, because you might be pulling them out of their own social network that is able to sustain them in some way, and now you've got to take care of somebody else. That doesn't seem like that would be a very healthy relationship.
Yeah, I want to answer Greedy Twig's question. We are planning a small vacation in Ireland this summer, maybe, or next summer.
That sounds great.
So we have like our first meeting person plan.
Yeah, and look, and if you meet and you hit it off and it's great, and they're of a legal immigration status, and they are at least able to help support themselves in some way, and you want to bring them in there and you want to try and figure out some way to keep them legally in Sweden, wholly support that and wholly agree with that. That could be fine. My concern would be, I'm going to marry you and then let you move into my apartment, and you got here because you're married to me, not because you're able to support yourself in some way, because what's online and what's real life could be very different. They could be completely unable to support themselves, and now you, a young person that is still figuring out your own life, is now not only taking care of yourself, but taking care of another person as a dependent. So just be a little hesitant with that. Now, you could turn around tomorrow and be like, you know what? I love this person. They're not my friend, and I would do anything for them. And I'm not going to yuck your yum. I mean, if that's where you want to go, go there. But I would say take it slow first. and let them come to the country
Yeah.
legally without you guys having to get married before they come over there.
Yeah, some info about Sweden. Our job like market right now is very open.
Are you inviting me? Come on over to Sweden.
Yes, Shep, you are the friend I was talking about.
Yeah, I was wondering when you would ask. Do I look like somebody would hire me? Just visually, I guess probably it's not that bad.
No, not here in Sweden at least.
Okay. Well, maybe they got libraries over there. Maybe they can ship Jen over.
No, but like the market industry is like now that the corona stuff is coming down and such. Our job market, because we had a pretty great corona. What the fuck is it?
Okay,
called?
I don't want to cut you off here.
Quarantine?
Is this going to turn into a Sweden infomercial? Did I answer your question?
No,
Oh,
yeah. I wanted to give more info. So you
I don't
can
need
give a
any more info.
coherent-
Just hit me with your question, please.
That was my question.
Your question is about
So,
the
yeah,
job market in Sweden?
No, about it. My God. Are you even listening to me, Shep?
I am, but you're talking about the job market in Sweden. What the hell does that have to do with anything? I'm trying to keep you on track so I can answer your question.
I was talking about the job market in Sweden to give more info about their friend potentially having an easier time getting a job in Sweden than America.
Okay. Well, the jobs are way up in America too. It's worldwide.
Yeah.
Okay. I wish them the best of luck. I hope they get hired immediately in Ireland or Sweden, and then you guys meet up in Ireland and have a great vacation, and they move in together with you and you become best friends. Is that what you want me to say? I don't know what I don't. This is not a question. This is a statement.
I want you to call me the best person in the world.
Have a good day, Moth. All right. Going on. Thank you, Moth, for almost a question, half a question. All right, I was on Friends. Gonna go on to the keto diet. Are you allowed to have one cheat meal per week? One cheat meal, not an entire day. I think it's probably if one planned cheat meal a week is going to prevent you from breaking the entire diet all the time. Yes. Like mentally, I think it's better to plan a meal that is not on the diet and eat it guilt-free than be like, I'm 100% on board with keto and eat a potato chip and be like, I'm off the diet. I guess I'm off the diet now. And you just go all in and eat an entire Subway footlong. So, yeah. And there's some research that it's actually healthy to cycle your diet to some extent anyways. Ultimately, it's going to come down to you and your individual biology and how you react. If you find that you eat one cheat meal a week on keto and you end up getting bloated and feeling gross and feeling tired, don't do that. If you're able to eat it and enjoy it and you've got no ill effects the next day, then go ahead and plan it in. It's going to depend on you. I find that I can have one cheat meal a week, especially, and I don't want to get into the weeds on this, if your body is depleted of glycogen, which is the energy that is stored after eating carbohydrates, and you eat a carb-laden meal, rather than necessarily absorbing all of those carbohydrates yourself and going to full-on breaking ketosis, your body's just reabsorbing glycogen. That works a lot better than going on like a carb binge over 3 days and just being like super oversaturated with carbohydrates. So as long as you're doing that, doing plenty of cardio, making sure that your carbohydrates are low and planning it and not feeling super guilty about it, then that's okay. All right, I've got Mr. Havoc in the waiting room. I'm going to do one more question written in, and then we're going to get over to him. So no subject. I live a life of isolation and dormancy, not taking any risks or ever making any moves to better my life. The essentials in life are satisfied, and I act like everything is fine. However, the reality is that I've gone through multiple existential crises that have simply been long ignored, some of which cannot be solved or understood. I feel like no amount of change will cure my perceived insanity, and I sometimes feel I might as well indulge to the fullest and not take life seriously. If you were in my shoes, what do you think I should focus on in the short and long term? Anecdotes. 33-year-old virgin, lives at home with mom, steady work from home job for 5 years, 0 in real life friends, possibly schizophrenic. Now, there's a lot to unpack here. So, you know, I can't necessarily tell you specifically what your life needs to be. You know, ultimately, we are all in charge of where our life is and where our life is going. So the fact that you're writing this in means to me that you are unsatisfied in your life in some way. And you've listed a number of things out that you list them almost as an aside, like these are things that are going on, as like a checklist. And I feel like you could take time with any one of those things and focus on that if you feel like that's the worst thing that's happening to you right now, right? So you're 33-year-old and a virgin. Maybe you'd like to have a relationship with somebody. You live at home with your mom. Maybe you want independence. You have 0 in real life friends. Maybe you want a friend. You're possibly schizophrenic. Maybe you need to see a therapist or get medication if that's something that's affecting you. You know, if you were to try and take on all of those things at once, that's going to mess you up. I mean, that is a lot to ask of any one person, and that's going to be some sort of a goal that would be a major challenge. I would pick one thing that you would like to improve for yourself, not because I'm saying it, but because you want to improve it, and start taking some steps that might go in that direction if you feel like that will make you happier. You know, there's some people that never end up in a romantic relationship, and there's nothing positive or negative about that. Some people just don't have any desire for that, and that's completely fine. You know, you live at home with your mom. Maybe you've got a great relationship with your mom. That's fine. You know, like, I like my mom. I don't live with her, but I think she's a great woman. You know, if she depended on me or if I depended on her, I mean, it might be a little embarrassing, but ultimately that's a relationship between the two of us. And if we find value in it, there's nothing wrong with that. 0 in real life friends. Again, like, some people go, Kirsika, shut up. 0 in real life friends, you know, I mean, that goes along with a lot of things else. I mean, ultimately what it sounds like is you've gotten very comfortable in a routine, and you're worried that you're going to go the rest of your life without ever pushing yourself to get outside of your routine in any significant way. And all I can say is, if you can look at this routine for the rest of your life and feel like, you know, when I'm old and I've passed away, I was satisfied with that, I'm not going to necessarily devalue that in any way if that's what you wanted. But if you feel like you could have more meaning or more value in your life, or that you would be happier with your existence by trying to change one of those things, find the smallest easy habit you can build in your life that would build you up as a person, make you better as a person, so you can start going outside of that. You know, I can tell you personally, having a romantic relationship is nice. You know, being married to someone is somebody you can, you know, trust and talk to, and, you know, have romantic relationships and do whatever it is you want on a regular basis. And it is very rewarding and very fulfilling, but it's not all positives. You know, there's downsides too. You're always around the other person. You know, you're relying on that other person forever. You know, maybe you find out you're a swinger and you didn't want to get married. You know, you don't know that. But you won't know until you put yourself out there and find that out. You know, it's never all one or all the other. I mean, any one of these things that you listed, outside of maybe the mental health thing, which you should absolutely try to at least speak with a therapist about, doesn't necessarily indicate a victory or a failure in your life. It's just the way it is. I was promised a naked Elatrion. We'll get there. I was just waiting to get down on the questions first, but they're coming in faster than I can answer them. We'll get there. I promise we're going to do it. You guys met the goal yesterday. You know, I don't know of your specific situation. All I do know is there's a lot of things that you can do, and it's going to start with yourself. If it were me, I guess the short-term goal, if I had to say something, was maybe see if your health insurance covers, quiet metal vines. See if your health insurance covers you speaking with somebody and getting some therapy for that. At the very least, speaking with somebody. And if it's something that feels like it's actively stopping you from doing things, it could have been that therapy and medication was what you needed. You know? Okay. I think we had Mr. Havoc next. Mr. Havoc, hello.
Hello. How are you doing today, Shep?
I am having a hell of a time. I was going to do Naked Alatron, but I'm just sitting around in the lobby naked talking to people, but that's fine. We're getting through a lot of questions. We're giving advice and changing lives.
So mine's easy. Honestly, Shep, I just want to tell you, you make A1 content. I'm 26. I own my own home. I do take care of my mom. So that last question you answered, don't take it as a bad thing. Sometimes life works weird.
I think it's amazing. Like if you have a good relationship with either or both of your parents and you live together and like it works, like why is that a bad thing?
Yeah, because I own my house. Obviously, my mom helps pay her portion of the bills, but she's relying on me as a caretaker, and it's life sometimes. It doesn't mean you can't have a life. I have a girlfriend, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
She has kids. I don't really want kids, but I like her kids, obviously. But really, I'm going through finance and all this crazy crap in my life, and the one question I have for you, Shep, is should I eat a Reese's Pieces or a honey bun? I just need this answered.
I'm a Reese's Pieces. The honey bun always looks better than it actually is. It's just a lot of empty carbs. The Reese's will be more satisfying.
Yeah, okay. That's what I needed, Shep. Go fight that electric naked now.
Okay. We'll get there soon. Good job. And really good on you for being there for your mother. If there's one thing that like depresses me the most, it's the tendency in the United States to like take our parents and jam them into homes and wait for them to die. That's so morbid when you think about it, right? That's like horrible.
Forward. My mom's had a lot of medical issues, and basically it's kind of how it happened. I've been doing it since I was 18, and for me, the thought process, especially for anybody that lives at home and you're doing something, it is not just one person's house, it's everybody's house that lives here, because it does not work unless you all work together. And honestly, my mom gave me 18 plus years of her life to take care of me, so if I can't do the same for her, it doesn't make sense.
As long as there's boundaries, and she's not like, getting into your business too hard and you're happy, I think it's great. All the power to it, 100%.
Yep, no, she's probably the greatest person on this planet.
You love to hear it. You don't hear it enough, but you love to hear it.
Oh yeah, nope. That's just what I wanted to ask, though. I'll have a Reese's Piece.
All right, excellent. Let me know how it is in the chat. I'll see you.
Absolutely.
All right.
See ya.
You took my advice and ordered Chipotle. Excellent. All right, let's keep going. College kid having trouble pursuing the right direction. Hi, Shep. I'm not quite 20 yet. And to be honest, I've been cruising through life on autopilot. Don't worry about that. That's everyone by the time they hit 20. You can't even help it. What are you going to do? Drop out of high school and start a rug cleaning business? You're doing fine. I've been in a position to pursue an associate's degree in physics and astronomy at community college and have been on that path for over a year now. But I'm not sure I even care about that subject anymore. Due to some mistakes I made in my first year of high school, I'm also using this college to get my diploma as well. Having come from a poor family as well, I've been late to get a vehicle or even a real official job. Haven't moved out yet either. I feel quite far behind in my life and yet still living on rails. Should I buckle down and get this associate's with my diploma, reserving that I won't really start living till my mid-20s? Fingers crossed. Or should I make significant efforts to throw stuff at the wall until it's 6, aka get a job, find hobbies, find my passion ASAP, while focusing less on this specific degree, maybe in case I want to change it. By the way, Shepard, you're awesome, and the stream is amazing. Thank you're doing. Oh, you're welcome. All right, so first thing, you're not 20 yet. You haven't made any mistakes yet. Honestly, you could have said, I'm not quite 30 yet, and I would still be like, you haven't really made any mistakes yet. Once you're past 30, it starts getting a little bit like, all right, what are you doing? I get on the road. You're not even 20 yet, okay? So don't feel bad, because there's a lot of people that are 19 and still in high school. So you haven't really lost any time yet. Second thing is statistically speaking, the amount of education that you have ends up correlating to the amount of money you make throughout your entire life. So you know, no high school degree, associate's degree, bachelor's degree, master's degree, doctorate, postdoctorate, whatever. In general, the more educated you are, the more money you will make over the course of your life. Will money make you happy? Not necessarily, but not having money is going to make you really sad. That's my general attitude on that. And that if you're a miserable person just in your heart, having money may not change that. But if you're a happy person and you don't have anything to eat and you can't afford your rent and stuff like that, you're going to be really stressed out. So you're young enough now to make quite a lot of decisions that can really greatly, dramatically impact your lifetime forever. You know, I think about things in a couple different ways. There's the me in the past, there's the me in the present, and there's the me in the future. And you got to respect all of those people in terms of balancing out their happiness. So you say, can I get a job, find hobbies, find my passion? That would be really awesome for the you right now to go around slinging your dick around and like playing competitive video games. That's cool. That's a lot of fun. The you of right now is going to love that. But the you in the future that didn't build up a strong career or foundation or education is going to be pretty miserable when they got themselves a whole lot of herpes and no money in their bank account. That's going to suck. I can get a little bit more nuanced. You know, a college education's not for everyone. There's nothing wrong to getting into a trade school. You can end up getting into a professional, like a trade career that can end up making you a lot of money a lot sooner with a lot less debt. You're saying you want to get a degree in physics and astronomy. That's some pretty high level stuff that I don't know that an associate's degree at a community college is going to be able to do a whole heck of a lot for you until you actually really get it, like a bachelor's degree. And even a bachelor's degree in that, a lot of employers just want to see you have a degree in something. There's what we call the general morass of a liberal arts degree. You know, unless you're like an engineer, a mathematician, a computer scientist, computer programmer, something that you could take your degree and immediately be applicable in some sort of a trade, you just got a degree. So don't sweat it, because anywhere you go, people are like, oh, you got that degree. I guess you're able to complete that. You completed enough education in a thing that shows that you're able to do this thing. There's a lot of jobs that will cover. I would say focus a little bit more on specifically what you could see yourself doing and enjoying that would provide you a long-standing career in the long term. At the very least, make sure you get your high school degree. You don't want to be in a place where you don't even have a high school degree, because that's going to really lock you out of a lot of things. An associate's degree would be great. I don't think it's going to take you 5 years. I don't think it should take you that long at all. I mean, you should be able to hustle it well enough. I mean, this is well written enough. Clearly, you know how to write, that you should be able to get through it a lot faster. But I'd say you're young enough. It's early enough. Maybe consider right now to align yourself into getting a degree that will directly allow you to make money right out of graduating. Because, yeah, you might have a passion in political science or sociology, but unless you're literally planning to directly apply that, like in politics, or you're planning to teach, that's the same as any other degree. If you're going to get a degree, it may as well be something that is directly marketable, be it accounting, be it finance, be getting a trade degree, better computer programming, anything like that. So maybe think about that. If you're willing to do physics, maybe you're a good fit for engineering. Maybe you're a good fit. Maybe if your area is okay for it, you're good at doing machine work. I mean, there's still a lot of machine work that requires human assistance, and those jobs pay pretty well. So I don't know. Definitely a lot more I can go into this, but I would say maybe think about that. Okay, maybe one more question, and then I'm going to get to Oz. Apathy. Internships? I mean, internships are okay. I mean, they're 19, so they've got plenty of time to check things out. And a lot of places would be happy to take free labor. Apathy. Maybe this is an undiagnosed depression of some kind, but there will be phases I go through where nothing is appealing to me, and I spend literally 8 hours a day staring at my Steam library, thinking about whether or not I should play something or not. That actually is a thing. I'm not a psychiatrist. Sometimes buying new games fixes this temporarily, but I find myself back in this place and I hate it. It's forcing myself to pick up something and play it because that usually leads me being absent-minded while playing, and I don't enjoy it because I'll be doing poorly while continue staring off space at the main menu. Any thoughts? So, everyone experiences this at different points in their life. This has to be just like a human thing. The thing is if this is entering your life enough so that you feel like you're being negatively affected and that you're spending a lot of time doing nothing and then you're feeling depressed about it, I would say it probably is a little bit more towards an anxiety or depression. I mean, I'm not a psychiatrist. I don't know the term for it, but not finding joy in the things that you used to find joy in is a symptom. So, I don't think the trick is do this one weird thing to make yourself play a game and find joy again. I think it's going to go a little bit deeper and a little bit more specific than that, in that, maybe you're relying too much on a game or the gaming as a hobby to fill your time and you're getting burnt out on it. You're a good guy. Hope this helps people. It's some good advice. Thank you. So, trying to find some way to mix it up in some way so that you're not constant reliant on one thing or one game or even the computer at all is going to do a lot to help mix things up. If it is undiagnosed depression, again, we go into all the things that can end up helping with that, right? I know you're working from home, some exercise, some sunlight, or if it comes to it, again, trying to find, if your insurance covers it, like, I'm just going to say it, like, I want to completely remove the stigma from it. I was in college. I was worried I had mental health issues. I was worried I'm getting depressed, anything like this. Lay down on the couch, unloaded my crap on a psychiatrist for like one session, and I felt so much better. It was great. And having that person that you can unload all of your crap on just to be able to bounce off in a completely objective, completely healthy setting, can do an awful lot for you. It's not, if you go to a message, if you think you're just a little depressed and you sit down with a therapist and they're like, I'm going to give you 3 medications and you need to be here 3 times a week, it's maybe a bad therapist. But if you can find somebody that you could just talk through, maybe you've got some trauma in your past, maybe you're having a hard time finding joy in your life and you need to reflect with them. Maybe they can give you some helpful advice that you can just talk to about any anxieties you have. I think that can go a really long way. So don't feel stigmatized about it. At least in the US, I think a lot of insurances cover it. A lot of times now you could even just do it online and you can just call the therapist. At worst, maybe you got a $20 or $25 copay and you've been able to dump your crap on someone. No, I'm totally down with the trauma dumping. That's what they get paid for, man. That's why they get paid. That's why they get paid the big bucks. And then just think about other small ways that you can improve your life. I mean, I don't mean it as glib advice, but there really is something very rewarding about taking, 30 minutes a couple times a week to walk around or, to lift some weights or to do anything else like that you think works for you. I feel bad for all the therapists that I'm unleashing people on. But like, that's what you guys get paid for. All right, going into the Discord. Oz, hello.
Ooh, hello, Shout. What's up?
I just pulled you in, no warning whatsoever. How's it going?
It's going great. It's going great. I'm hoping that you are doing well as yourself.
Yeah, I'm feeling good. Had a good day today with Jen. I'm gonna be able to spend some time with her tomorrow, so I feel pretty happy about that.
Awesome. So for today, I just had a quick question. So I switched, for a little bit of a preface, I switched from computer science to accounting around my sophomore year. And I'm currently in my senior year, and I've been going through the process of job finding. And last week, I got a job offer from an accounting firm. And I do think that it's a pretty good company, and I do think I'm going to accept the offer. But I wanted to know any advice or any different tidbits that could be useful from switching to a college life or just a straight up school life to the corporate life, because obviously I've got a lot of freedom right now, and I've got a lot of time and easy to connect with people, and just moving into that corporate culture, it's going to be probably a little bit different. I've heard from the interviews that it's going to be kind of a struggle, but I want to know your take on it.
I've got a lot I could talk about here. So actually this may be the time I want you to be like, all right, Shepard, I'm done. Stop talking. Okay. So you're aware as an accounting major going to one of these accounting firms that they take you in as an expendable piece of meat and take as many billable hours out of you, for like 2 to 3 years. Like they're going to be ravaging your butthole, right? You know that.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I know that for a fact.
Yeah, it's kind of like military training for the finance world.
Yep.
The nice thing about it is, of course, once you get through with it, they give you the stamp of approval. You're able to get your CPA. And they say the most profitable as well as happiest self-employment business in the country, at least in the US, is actually like local CPAs. I'm sure you've heard that statistic before, right?
Yeah.
So when you're going through these next 2 to 3 years, you're going to need that little gem in your heart as they smash your butt cheeks. And that's just going to happen. But you're aware of it. You're okay with it. You're not going to get surprised by it. And I think that's a good, it's a good career to get into, because once you have your CPA, it opens up a lot of doors. My main thing is, especially if you're starting a new career, you're coming out of college, if you come in with the attitude of, it's hard to say because it's going to always depend on where you go, but don't think you know anything. You may, by some virtue, legitimately be more intelligent than your boss. Let me tell you, don't ever let them think that you think that, even if you are.
Absolutely.
It is important coming in to come in slow and reserved and casual as possible. This is difficult for me, by the way. I'm telling this to you because it's difficult for me. I'm telling this for you so you could come into it knowing it ahead of time. Slow and casual to gradually understand the workplace dynamic and things like that. And always try to make your boss happy, because for you, it's only 2 to 3 years. You're not going to be there your whole life. So just try to make your superiors as happy as possible for 2 to 3 years. And when you make them happy, they'll make you happy by giving your stamp of approval at the end. And maybe you'll end up working for them in a career in a better position that isn't getting slammed, or maybe you'll find another firm, or maybe you'll start your own business. You don't know. I do know they generally get, like, your hours are going to be crazy. Like, you're going to be working like 70, 80 hours a week. But I think,
I was talking to one of the firms, another firm from an interview, and they were saying like, oh yeah, in your first year, you're usually going to be like, it's required like 40, 45 hours, and then that will go up to like 58, and sometimes like one person went like 70 hours a week or something like that.
Yep.
So
yeah, usually they pay you pretty okay for that time anyways. Like you're obviously not fully compensated, but I mean, your money shouldn't be a major issue while you're there. Yeah. I mean, you're smart. I mean, I don't think you have a major issue. Really, for me, the main thing is just for anyone starting a new career or switching a new job, or especially if you ever have a manager. And this is the reason why I don't like for working for other people, is if I'm smarter than my boss, I want him to tell him to kiss my ass. Like, I want him to kiss my butthole, you know? Mm-hmm. So for me, I had no choice ultimately other than either I suck that up and live with that personal pain, or go for self-employment. Which I chose the latter option. And for you, this will be a good opportunity for you over the next 2 to 3 years. I mean, you'll hate it either way, but you'll get a pretty good idea of whether or not you enjoy the security and reliability of a normal paycheck versus end up striking out on your own and doing that. Is that why I work for chat? Noxella, I will kill that Patreon. I swear to God. Actually, this is a good Patreon stream, so I can't really complain. Does that answer your question in any way? Does that help at all?
Yeah, definitely. It gives me a little bit more, I guess, a perspective on how I should probably.
It's just like if you could come in and not be that one guy that comes in, and it's a lot of them, straight out of college, like, check out my degree, check out what I know. probably the biggest thing is they want you there for your billable hours, but at the same time, and I could be wrong because it might be different in the accounting world, don't necessarily do anything to make everyone else's life harder. In that, like, I don't want to say like don't work too hard, but don't try to work harder than anyone else, because at the end of the time, they're just going to give you your CPA anyways and you'll be done. You know?
Yeah.
Follow the pace of everyone else. And if you've got questions about it, you know, try to ask a colleague or a boss, like, hey, you know, what's the pace like right now? It's like, I'm going at an okay pace. Am I going too hard? Am I going too slow? Don't necessarily ask your boss if I'm going too slow, because he'll say, no, work more. But try to observe around you and don't stand out too much. And that's a pretty happy way to be. That's pretty good. When you're working for someone else, you're working in a company, just don't be the guy that stands out. You want to be the guy that blends in, gets a slightly better than average performance review, and you go on home and cash that paycheck. That's what you want to do. And that's great until you get the position that you want. Now, maybe you're a manager now, or you end up just running your own business. I could highly recommend running your own business. I definitely enjoy it personally. It's a bit of a risk early on, but it is the rewards and benefits and everything else that come from it are absolutely well worth it.
Yeah, I definitely plan on absorbing all the experience that I take within the next 1 to maybe 5 years.
Yeah.
Because this company does seem actually pretty good. But taking all that experience and just trying to use that to the best of my ability.
Yeah,
with
no,
other things.
I think you'll be fine. I mean, ultimately, I think from an accounting perspective, you probably know everything you need to know. You may know more from the recent teachings at college than even a lot of people there do. The thing is that you're just getting your CPA.
Hopefully.
You just need that certificate.
Yeah, I know that in accounting, though, because all like the rules and regulations change with the Securities and Exchange Commission, you have to go and learn more about all that.
Yeah.
It's like required like 120 hours per 3 years, something like that.
Yeah.
So you're never really off the hook if you're CPA, if you want to keep that license.
Yeah, you got to keep
definitely.
that license. That's very important. And then we could actually have somebody that's around us that is an actual tax professional. I am not a tax professional, but Oz will sue me. Not yet. Give him 3 or 5 years, but you'll be there. Okay.
Maybe.
Great career. So you were in computer science and now you're in accounting. Damn, you could have gone fine either way. Both of those are good.
Yeah,
good decisions.
computer science. As much as I love it, it definitely wasn't for me. I have a tough time learning languages, and learning that language, in especially going from like C to Python to whatever, it was too much for me. And I decided, I probably need to find something a little bit easier and something I could bring to a lot of other different areas or markets.
Well, good on you for figuring that out sooner rather than later. All right.
Absolutely.
All right, sounds good. I guess I'll get the next question. You're very welcome, Oz. Have a great day. Thanks for
You
calling
too.
in.
Bye.
We're doing an advice stream. Star 6 Crows. We've got, if you want my solicited or unsolicited advice, here you go. You have a love-hate relationship with computer science? Could be a great career path, but Jesus Christ. Okay, so I think I did. Did I miss this one? Nope. Okay, diets. Hello. I find that I get nauseous eating or not eating at all. So you're always nauseous? But I'd like to eat more regularly in small portions or big. Do you have any advice for pushing through it or distracting from it? I am worried that you have a medical condition. Are you always nauseous? I don't know that if you ever have a medical condition that is like making your advice worse, that the correct advice is ever to push through it. You may have a food allergy. You might have an ulcer. I'm not a doctor. Doctor said it's not anything medical. So all I'll say is a doctor may say it's not medical, but that is entirely possible that it is still undiagnosed. Doctors get it wrong all the time. I know for a long time, Jen was like, I'm tired. And she would go to her doctor and get her blood test and be like, oh, your blood's fine. And then one year she's like, can we check this one thing? And they find out, oh, wait, actually, your thyroid has not been producing enough beta-thyroxine. Oops. And she took some thyroid medicine, and now she's not tired anymore. It's not that there wasn't anything medically wrong with her. It's that a doctor couldn't figure it out. Not saying that you have to do a lot of things to experiment on yourself, but I would say pushing through it does not seem like good advice. All right, the most practical advice I could say is maybe try, hopefully with the advice of your doctor, something like an elimination diet. Try to remove everything you can from your diet outside of one food group and start with that under medical supervision and see if that makes you less nauseous, and then just slowly start adding things into it until you feel like you're eating without getting nauseous again. Drinking Rise also makes you not tired. No, drinking a Rise just makes you more awake now and more tired later. You'll start with beans? That's the best advice I could give. You know, start with just one simple food with nothing added to it. A simple carbohydrate's probably not a bad idea. Other people, and this is really weird, and again, like, obviously you wouldn't do this forever, but some people try only meat. Some people might try only bread, only rice, only beans, something like that, and see where it goes from there. You know, and then slowly add things in until you find maybe, oh, Jesus, like, I guess I'm lactose intolerant, or, oh, geez, I guess my body doesn't digest gluten. Could be any one of those things. I'm not a doctor, but it sounds very dismissive of a doctor who doesn't want to take the time and effort to figure it out. Star 6 Crows, you figured it out. Yes, we are doing an advice stream. 2015 and through 2018 and the nature of coming back. Maybe you've told the story many times before, it could be too personal, but I'm wondering, after that Dark Beast Parl video in 2015 where the YouTube channel lay dormant until 2018 when you posted World Demo Rathalos runs, what happened? I'm asking because I'm interested in how a journey where an aspect of life is dropped and then picked up again and years later goes. Also, maybe I'm dumb and you were active elsewhere on the internet, lol. I was active on the Teamwork Cast podcast channel. We had decided we're going to post Teamwork Cast videos on the Teamwork Cast podcast channel. Now, that being said, that was not content on my channel. That was my content on a group channel. It was really more 2015 to 2017. I guess it was two things. Well, the first thing was I was focusing on like my career. And it's not that I had no interest in content or Monster Hunter or other content at all. It was really more that, you know, I mean, I wasn't making anything close to a living on it, and I wanted to focus on building up a career instead. And I was still creating content, but it was like, I mean, I'll be honest, like, I'm not going to call space. It was like, it was lazy, right? I would show up every Sunday morning, and me and Christian and Cthulhu would play Monster Hunter Generations for 2 to 3 hours on a Sunday, and it would get chopped up and uploaded. So I was still creating, but it took minimal effort from me, but still satisfied that part of me that was like, I want to make something. It was just enough to be like, enough for me, but it wasn't like a real attempt, and it was in a way like a real break. But otherwise, I mean, Jude, I mean, I've been making content for 3 or 4 years. It wasn't like I forgot how to make YouTube content. Live streaming was new for me. You can go back to those early YouTube live streams, and I won't say they're rough, but they're not the content I make nowadays, and it's not the sort of YouTube content that would kind of keep you alive and going nowadays. But like anything, you do it until you learn and you get better at it, and you invent and you keep redoing it over and over again. So yeah, it was never fully dropped. It was just kind of put on the back burner. Drunk stream, please. No, I'm doing it full time now. I got to be careful about drunk streams. One person in the waiting room. I'm going to take one more question, and then I'm going to go forward with the question. Four Horns. How do I not feel scared of triple carding, nor being a bedlet, or zoning to heal? Shed Hinata. I don't know, man. Make like a pellet light bowgun. Bring plenty of flash bombs and sonic bombs. When's next YouTube upload? I should do one soon. Honestly, I recorded some footage the other day that I plan to use. I just haven't done anything with it yet. Wrong person to ask. Ha, 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 ha. Ha, ha, ha. Ha. All right. Metalmonger, hello.
Oh.
Hold on, I gotta pull your volume up a little bit there.
Yeah, just make sure you do. If I get too loud, let me know.
No, you're fine. I'll adjust your audio so you don't have to worry about it.
Perfectly fine.
All right, so what's going on?
All right, so I'm in a little bit of an opposite situation than the guy that just went through to accounting.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying I heard you. So Oz is about to graduate as a senior with accounting, and he's got a whole job lined up. So good for him.
Yeah, I got so I just recently switched positions to a more computer field. I'm basically like a baby analyst now.
Sounds
for
great.
like computer science. Yeah, it's pretty great. So I just got done being ANIST 60 to 65 hours a week because I was doing CAD for production. I wanted to get the hell out, so I did. Same company, but now I'm in a situation where I'm 2 weeks in and I feel like I'm not doing enough. But if I say that, I'm scared that the bosses will look at me and go, well, why the hell aren't you asking for more work when I kind of am? But I don't know where I stand or if I should stick my head out.
Is your boss happy with you?
My boss loves me.
So let me give you a secret.
Okay.
When you tell your boss you don't have enough work, you're giving your boss more work.
Oh.
You think your boss wants more work?
Well, I don't think so.
So why do you want to give him more work?
I do not. Okay. Understood.
So, I mean, if he's happy with you and they're all happy with you, you're getting the job done. Don't make waves. Remember that part where I said you want to be the guy that comes in, get stuff done, and at the end of each quarter or half year or year, you get a better than average performance review?
Okay.
You want to be that guy.
Okay.
Now, if you find yourself at work and you've got a ton of free time, you feel like you've got nothing to do.
Yeah.
Try and find something you can do so you look busy.
Okay, so just like pretend to start Googling Boolean logics and whatever.
If there's anything you can do that if somebody were to walk behind you and look at your screen and it looked like you were being productive, even if you'd finished all of your work, you want to do that.
Okay.
And you're into computer programming, so there may be aspects of computer programming that you could have up on your screen that you could work on, even if it was like a test environment, And I'm assuming, you're working 40 hours. Well, you were working 60 hours a week, but you're dropping down to 40 hours a week, and you're finding there's not enough work to fill the day.
It's unique to where before I hardly had any time to think. And now I'm finding time to just be there and realize what kind of work I'm doing and plan out my day, as opposed to everything that's coming at me needs to be done as soon as possible.
Well, I will say this. The worst thing you can find yourself in is being at work with nothing to do and no projects to do and nothing to work on. That's an awful, awful feeling. And I think where your animus is coming from is maybe like 20 to 30% you'd like to be productive from the company because you feel guilty getting paid and not doing anything, and 70% you're slowly going insane because there's not enough for you to do to fill up your day.
Yes.
The challenge for you and what you can do now is you could sit at your desk and try to think up of ways to fill your time while benefiting yourself and benefiting your company. But don't tell your boss. Don't tell your boss that.
Okay.
And don't tell your coworkers that. And don't make waves. I
don't know if it's a good thing to do or not, but those that are friendly, because I know that the computer science realm is very, I'm doing it my way. My way is so complicated.
Everybody's going to be
what
like
I mean?
that.
Yeah. It's so the ones enough that it's kind of like I just want to get my work done and go and seem about my age, kind of like doing it. I'll go talk to them about what issues they're trying to solve. And kind of like jot down notes, talk to them about it, and then we kind of go back and forth while I see them do it. And then I go back, check on my tickets, work on my tickets, and then kind of.
The only thing I'd say, and that is a good way to spend your time. The only caution I would give is don't get yourself into that position where you're the guy that everybody comes to fix their problems. Because
no, that's who I was prior to this.
Yeah, well, I could tell. That's why you're already falling back into your old habits. You like how I picked up on that. You don't don't ever put yourself out to the point where you can't complete your own work.
No.
Okay. As long as you have that in mind, that's fine. I would suggest more than anything though, do that less than you want to, because everybody's got their own, ship that they got to keep afloat. If you've got a coworker that can't hack it without you helping them, that sounds like a coworker that can't hack it. Right?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's sad, right? But what am I gonna do? Go home and wipe their ass for them too?
I mean, I'm sorry, but
can't.
it's not a charity, and you don't want to end up in a situation where you find yourself people always like messaging you over the chat or whatever, coming over your desk station, trying to get you to get questions or things resolved. And that goes for a lot of things for a lot of people in other positions. Like, it's one thing to be helpful when people come to you for help, but don't necessarily go around asking it and offering it, because it could get taken advantage of too quickly, too easily. And for you, I could already tell that's something that's happened before and could easily happen again.
Yeah, no, I never want to be there again.
Yeah, don't do it.
I've learned quickly here to just, when you tell someone to fucking cuss, I'll tell them to fuck off. Very clearly, like, just
all right
off.
Then. Well, hey, the Stonewall
too many
Gus.
times.
Yeah. So
Too many times.
so then you get it. So the main thing is just don't tell your boss you don't have anything to do, because that's the worst thing that you can do. Because now you're giving your boss work, and your boss doesn't want more work.
Perfect.
Okay?
Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. All right, have a good one.
Hey.
All right.
Bye.
All right. Excellent. All right, next question. No subject. Is it okay that the only female intimacy I get is from watching ASMR? I mean, if you're okay with that, I'm not going to judge that. Hard time out there to meet people. If you find you are emotionally satisfied by watching ASMR, and that satisfies your needs, it's weirder stuff out there, if you watch female ASMR and then you think to yourself, I wish I had more in real life female intimacy. Well, it's okay in as much as you're willing to make it okay. Yeah, no, I mean, the pandemic makes things harder. No doubt about it. Pandemic does not make things easy. I'm sure there's a lot of I don't know if there's a lot of women out there listening to male ASMR, but if you feel like you need a relationship in your life, then you already know that that's setting you on a path through which you have to try and find female intimacy. And with that, all I'll say is, to make that long topic short, is focus on yourself. If you're worried about being rejected or having a hard time meeting people, the more you can focus on making yourself a better person that somebody would want to go out with, the easier it's going to be when you muster up the courage to actually talk to somebody or swipe on them or Tinder or whatever it is people do nowadays to meet each other. And you'll have made it easier for yourself to get the real life intimacy if that is what you want. Balancing relationships and work. You're here for life advice? Welcome, Falafel Freak. Give you this command. I was watching Dune with a friend and I got asked the question, you've been working ever since college. Don't you think it's time to think about having a relationship? I'm 26 and male, and I realized that since graduating college, I've been grinding out work for a while. In college, I did the typical things, going to mixers, clubs, parties, and I've hung out with girls, but I never attempted to hook up with them. Am I getting to the age where I'm in the FOMO zone of relationships? The question stumped me because I guess I never really stopped and thought about it. Maybe I wanted to set my career foundation, then look for girls? I just feel like I get lost in work and my hobbies and think about it. Any tips to help remotivate people to find love? So that's an interesting question. I mean, I would go back to the beginning and say, you've been very happy building your career and living your life, and you've been spending time with friends. So that already sounds like you're pretty fulfilled in your life. Just like kids aren't for every relationship, relationships aren't there for every person. And it may not be that you're at a point yet where you want to have a relationship. So you have to think about what is it that you want in your life? If you feel like you would be happier having, I guess you said a girlfriend and that would make your life better, then you've set yourself a sort of side goal in your life as something that you may want to do. I'm sure certainly it gets harder, you know, if you college is the easiest place to meet people because the vast majority of people are single, hanging out in dorms, with little life commitments. As soon as you're working, that gets rid of your days. Nights are hard. Like, where do you meet people? I guess you go to bars, or you got to go to dating apps, and those are all pains in the ass, way more so than what you might find in college. But I promise you, there's a 26-year-old female that has been working nonstop since college that is having this same thought as you are right now in their own life, and thinking maybe it's time that I have to think about a relationship. And maybe you'll find that if you start a relationship right now at 26, you know, if you could have done it all over again, you're a lot happier having started a relationship at 26 than you were at 21 or 18, or God help you, like 15. You know what I mean? That is not necessarily a wrong thing. I mean, you know, the decisions you make and the relationships you get into at the time that you make them, they were the right times for you. What am I playing today? Streamer, play the game. We're playing Monster Hunter World. We're going to get to the game in just a minute, I promise. So don't feel like necessarily you've missed the boat. 27 gives advice to a 26-year-old. 26 is still plenty young. Even if you were 36. Even if you were 46. You know, it was just the time that you were ready to get into a relationship. And that's fine. You know, it's all about when you want to get started. Don't feel like there's a pressure, because trust me, the pressure that you feel consistently, you know, get a girlfriend, get married, have a kid, have another kid, all those things. There's going to be a never-ending deluge of expectations that people might have in their own life that they expect for you to have, and you don't need to have them. You know? It's just a matter of what you want and what would make you happier. Do I personally think you might be happy with a girlfriend? I think it's worth a shot. I think it's at least worth, like, going out on a couple dates. And, you know, if you find out you don't like it, it's not, you're not ready for it yet. You're just happier just doing your own thing and being in your career. I think that's fine too. I have wisdom surpassing most elderly people. Takes one to know one. All right. Chaos, not good enough to write in a question. Now you need to come in for the real thing.
I promise I'm not avoiding the chat timeout. I'm trying to engage, damn it.
Okay. So your question earlier was you were playing games and you were getting no enjoyment from them.
Yeah.
Okay. That sucks. That is at least a symptom of, anxiety or depression or something like that, and especially if it goes on for a long time. And I'm not a therapist, but if you're finding you're really spending a whole day enjoying nothing, that's not a good sign. That does mean you should probably do something else. So I'm assuming you want to talk more about that.
Yeah, I was thinking about other stuff to chat about, but it might be easier just to stay on the same subject.
No, if you got it.
No, really, because a lot of the stuff you've been talking about, it's actually very, I don't want to say maybe vindicating, but it's good knowing that there are a lot of other people in my similar circumstances. And a lot of the advice you've given out thus far is actually been very beneficial. So you've been doing an excellent job with this. And I don't even...
As different as we are all actually the same.
we're all just shared personalities in your giant forehead.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, it is legitimately really frustrating having access to, just infinite forms of entertainment. In my case, it's the Steam library. I don't really care about Netflix or streaming shows and stuff like that. I've sworn off of television entirely. But, there are still things I look at just wistfully in my library, thinking about all the good times I've had with them, and it just doesn't bring me joy anymore. It's something that, from like a mechanical standpoint, like I enjoy the whole purposes of the game, what you do, just the things behind it that make it enjoyable for me, and then I just load it up again, and I'm just like, well, this sucks. Well, it just kind of stare off into space.
Right.
And I feel like I'm just putting band-aids on the problem by just buying more games, because I don't feel like that's going to solve the problem.
Yeah, so I mean, there's at least two things there. The first part is, don't feel like because you've owned something or started something or played something that you owe anything to the media, right? So you could buy a book, read the first half of the first chapter and be like, this sucks. And there'll be a certain type of person out there that says, well, screw it, I'm going to read the whole damn thing anyways.
Right.
But that's, you know, you don't owe anything to the media that you own in that sense. And certainly there might be the book right out there for you that you would enjoy, just like there might be the right Steam game out there that you could pick up and enjoy anyways. Kind of what I was talking about earlier, though, was if you're finding yourself in the rut on one thing, you know, rather than spinning your tires and try to peel out of your Steam library full steam ahead with some new roguelike that's going to bring you joy, start thinking about other smaller hobbies that you can engage in that might also bring you joy in another way. Because that kind of changes the tempo of your own brain chemistry. You know, if you, I mean, and try and set a rule or something like that. It's like, you know, if you want to put a timer on your phone for 5 or 10 minutes and sit down to your computer and be like, all right, if I'm not playing a game and into it in 10 minutes, I'm getting out of this chair and I'm going to go do something else outside. I think that'd be a good way to either force yourself to sit down and try to engage on something or just like bounce off of it completely. Because the worst thing you could do is sit there and be static and do nothing and stuck in your own head as you're miserable. Then 4 or 5 or 6 hours are going and you're just like scrolling through websites, scrolling through your Steam games, turning them on, cloning them off. That's just not going to be a good day, and that's not going to be a good way to spend your time. And it might actually end up putting you in a worse place the next time you go back to try and do anything again, because now you're going to have all this built up frustration and all this built up stress over being like, man, this sucks.
Oh, that's happened.
Yeah.
That's happened.
Yeah. And it's
a negative feedback loop.
Yeah. It's going to get worse and worse every time. And so, you know, either you set a point where you're going to cut yourself off, or you're going to set a plan when you're not playing games to go back and say, when I end work, or once I end working out or showering or something, I'm going to play this. Either you go out and do that thing, or you just do something completely different if you can't get into something in the next 5, 10, 15 minutes. And everybody feels that way. Like, everybody's been stuck there. You know, it's 1 or 2 in the morning. You're on your phone. You've checked all of your normal websites. You've checked all of your Discords. And you're just browsing through stuff, trying to find something to entertain you, but you don't want to commit to anything. And you're just spinning your wheels. And it's just like, at a certain point, you just be like, stop. There's nothing here. I need to go to bed and start tomorrow, you know?
Yeah, I've told myself that a couple of times, where it'll be, 1, 2 in the morning, and I'm just like, what am I doing? There's no point to me staying up. I'm just going to pop some more goddamn melatonin and just knock myself out.
And that's fine. That's fine. If that's, at least you recognize that you're not engaging your time productively and you're just causing yourself more stress.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of my problems also kind of come from the fact that the environment I've constructed for myself doesn't really lend itself to finding other things to do.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people have created a cocoon over the last almost 2 years. You're not the only one.
It goes a lot farther than that. Mine's even before the pandemic. You've
been creating a sort of shelter from the outside world in a way?
More or less.
Do you regret that?
Yeah, I kind of do, because the older I get, the more I realize I'm coming to terms with the fact that I'm not the hermit that I thought I was growing up, because I've always been a loner. I've always, had a very small group of friends, if only 1 or 2, and, I'm now coming to terms with the fact that maybe I do need to look at getting into a relationship. Not that to shift gears and unload more baggage.
No, but usually, I think for a lot of people, if they've been a little isolated or a little introverted, the first main impetus for them is like, man, am I gonna die alone, or am I gonna live alone the rest of my life?
Right.
And then, you figure, like, I guess I got to get on with this at some point anyways, at least to try it out. And I guess, I've had a decent amount of advice relationship I've given out over today, but all I say is, it goes down to 2 parts. And the first part is, making yourself the best version of you that you can be. Think about yourself and think about, would I want to date myself? at least.
I'm a narcissist, so yes.
Okay, good. Then well, that's fine. I mean, hey, at least you've got confidence, and that goes a long way. And then the second part is actually putting yourself out there in whether it be, God help you.
That's the hard part.
A dating app or a bar or a social group or a sports group or anything, or a situation where you might encounter somebody you might be attracted to and going forward with that.
And that's got its own set of problems. I've got not crippling social anxiety, but I don't like social engagements. I don't like going to bars to just chill. If I'm going to go to a bar, it's with one or two friends.
Right, you have some beers.
And even that is a far cry from something I'd rather do. If I get asked to go to a bar, I'm usually like, no, I don't. Why would I go to a bar? I've got alcohol at home. I'll get drunk by myself.
Yeah. I mean, all I'll say is like the one bit of advice that I'm going to be lacking on is like the ways to do it. I've been married for a long time now, and I was lucky enough to find Jen when I was in college. The exact mating rituals of a, adult life in terms of finding another partner. And even if whatever it was 10 years ago, I'm sure are very different nowadays. But I know it's not impossible. I mean, people are still meeting up all the time. And I think you'll, in some ways, this might sound terrible. I'll say it anyways. In some ways, like the job market is starving. I bet you the relationship market is pretty starving as well. I bet you there's a lot of people that were single at the start of this whole pandemic that are now looking to get into relationships and, realize that the last 2 years of their life or whatever has just been kind of coasting by. Hey, we're all vaccinated, get vaxxed and waxed and put yourself out there.
Oh yeah, no, I've got my jabs. I'm proud of having that done.
So, it's just, all it takes is, set a time or set a date for yourself for something that, if you feel like you're ready, then, say you're going to start signing up for whatever dating websites or apps or whatever, at the very least. I mean, look, it's shallow and it's terrible. And I'm sure some of them are just, sex apps. But hey, if that's where you got to go with your first time, I mean, there's no shame for it, I guess.
Yeah. I did dip my toe in that pool before the pandemic, like just before the pandemic started, I think. I made a match profile and it just did not give me anything remotely useful. Because they want you to pay for it.
Yeah, well, all I know is that for guys, generally for your profile to get anywhere at all, you can do that. I mean, the other alternative is just checking in with your friends. If your friends have girlfriends, their girlfriends have friends, and some of them might be single, and you start there.
It's funny because we've had conversations like that with, people I consider friends at work, coworkers. I just casually drop a hint about how depressed and miserable I am being single, and they'd be like, "All right, you know what? One of these days we're gonna get you a date. We're gonna be Will Smith and match you." And of course that never happens. They never.
Well, you know what? All I'll say is they might say it to cheer you up, but there might be some half-hearted advice there. It's okay to ask for help. Yeah. If you've got somebody at work that you like and trust, you'd be like, look, I got to be real with you. I don't want to be on any of these dating websites, but I'd love to at least spend an afternoon taking a girl out to dinner and watch a movie. Do you know anyone? I bet you everybody knows someone. Everybody knows someone that's single out there. And you could be that guy for that girl. And if you don't want to drop Benjamins on Match or Tinder or wherever the hell else people are dropping money, just tell them like, hey man, actually I'm serious this time. I think I actually want to try going out with somebody. Do you know anyone? They'll tell you yes or no. I mean, and if they say maybe not, then I don't know. Maybe reflect on yourself and what else you can change to be the point where they want to introduce you to their sister or whatever, But that's at least a place you could start if you don't want to go the online route.
I don't know. I feel like with the just vast amount of different avenues you can look at for online dating sites and stuff like that, there's bound to be something there.
You got to pick it for yourself.
Low effort.
All I'll say is if you're going in for low effort, you may get low effort results. So keep that in mind as well. If you're talking to real people in real life, those are real social connections you have that also have their own real social connections as well that are way more likely to land at least somewhere close to you. And in your case, it's not like you've come off a string of 12 relationships and you're trying to go on your 13th. You're trying to get one relationship started.
The first one.
The first relationship. So it might be a bit better to come with somebody that isn't, looking to drug you up and steal your kidneys from somebody that that's going to be a little gentle. Be like, and you can be honest with them too. Be like, look, I haven't been in a relationship. You don't have to be completely honest necessarily. You can be, it's been a long time.
Offload on them.
Well, I mean, if they know you've been single forever, then that's one thing. But if you want to say it's been a long time since it's been a relationship, that's technically true. You're not lying. It's been a long time since a relationship. If you are on a first date, you want to say you've never been in a relationship before. It's never right to lie. So if they ask you, but it probably won't come up. So don't worry about that, and don't offer the information either.
Yeah. That's something I kind of struggle with internally as well. Is like if I put myself in that what if scenario, if I'm sitting at a table with someone and we're having dinner or we're discussing things, how do I avoid being weird? Like I'm overly focused on not being a just psychopath to someone because
try and be yourself. Be the best version of yourself that you can be, and if that's not good enough, then it wasn't meant to be. That's it. That's all you can do. You can't be someone else. You can only be yourself. Now you can be the weird, crazy part of yourself, or you can be the you that's really trying to keep your crap together. You want to be that one. You want to be the, what's the worst thing that's going to happen in this girl's life? Oh, they didn't, they had a dinner that that you paid for, and maybe they saw a movie that maybe they liked or didn't like, or whatever it is people do after a dinner nowadays. And then they never had to go out with you again. I mean, that's still not a terrible time. They still had dinner. Yeah. It's not like,
whether or not they paid for it.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to split the bill too, again, I don't know, but it could be worse either way.
I guess I should give myself some credit then, because I feel like throughout the time at the company I've worked at and all the girls I've talked to there, I mean, that has inevitably ended up in the friend zone because they're either already in a relationship or what have you. But nonetheless, I've been able to interact with them and be friendly, be personable, have
just
a relationship with them in a way.
Yeah. No, any girl that you've been a friend with at work is great because you're getting comfortable. And whenever girl you date, you're just going to treat them like they're still a human. They still like pizza. They still have to poop. They still have to sleep at night. That's
a lie. Girls don't poop.
Oh, okay.
That's a lie.
They still probably hate their job. It's still all of those things. They're still just another person. Just treat them like any other person would. Maybe a little bit nicer than you would any other person. And just go forward from there. But if you have a lot of friends at work that are girls, they have friends that are girls. And one of them has at least one girl that they will set you up with, and you could at least go on a date with them. If you want to be as honest and brutally honest with them as possible, like, look, I just have never been in a relationship. I just want to go out to dinner with somebody. I'll pay wherever they want. Just let me know. Somebody's going to take you up on that. And just get that first one out of the way like a Band-Aid, and then reevaluate. You call back in and we'll see where you are from there.
I don't know. That seems an awful reckless approach.
No, it's not reckless at all. It's the safest possible thing you could do.
Really?
Unless, some girl, a female coworker, invites her friend out on the first date, and you show up completely naked or in spandex or latex gimp bodysuit. Assuming you just have a normal date, don't even worry about kissing them or anything at the end. Just maybe give them a hug goodbye. Be as normal and reserved as possible and ask them how'd it go. If you're honest, you say, I've not dated before, they're going to treat you with kid gloves. You'll be fine. Just got to get the first one out of the way. Right now, you're hesitating, and that's because you're afraid. Do not be a coward.
Man, that's the hardest part.
I know, but
it's a willpower thing.
Set a date or a time, and I know you're all work from home, so...
I got plenty of time.
Okay, well, send them a message. I mean, be like, hey, can we talk off the company DMs? I have a question I need to ask you. And I'm sure you've got one girl, whatever, your best friends will be like, look, I'm just looking for somebody to go out with. Do you know any girls? Because it's been a long time for me. And start with that. It's either that or you got to sign up on Match and you're going to get, matched up with whatever other crazy person out there.
Well, it's like... It's showing me a bunch of women that are devoutly religious or something else that just isn't,
well,
in my interest zone. And, they've already got 2 kids off of other relationships and marriages.
Well,
I don't want any of that.
Let me tell you, the longer you wait,
the harder it'll get.
The more that's going to be there. And if that's not something you want, then you better get on with it now.
Right.
Okay?
I get it.
All right. I'm just telling you what you already know.
A lot of this is stuff that I do already
and
know.
I'm just telling you that you're right. You already know it. You just got to do it.
It's hard, man.
I know. I didn't say it was easy. Relationships always involve you being vulnerable. I mean, there's no reward without risk. Unless you really put yourself out there, then, you're never going to find intimacy with people. And that is intimacy, is being vulnerable and then, seeing how the other person reacts. Like I said,
Not
the worst
ripping
thing
your
you're going to
throat
do to this other girl's life is have a dinner date and she's going to have a bad time. All right. You're not going to try. The person who's going to be most traumatized is probably going to be you. And you could
I
take
feel
it.
bad.
Yeah, you'll feel bad. If they got a bad date, that's fine that you at least, you took them out and whatever. Okay. So set a date that you're either hopefully going to be messaging one of your female colleagues, because I think that's your best bet. Because you could tell them right off the bat, like, hey, I'm just looking for somebody that maybe doesn't have 3 kids already. And that's fine. That's your preference. Or B, you got to, spin the wheel of fate on the dating websites and see how it goes. But I don't think that's going to be the easiest or best way to get into a relationship. Could work, but good luck.
We'll see. Also, unbonk me. It's been 2 hours.
I'd have to right click your name. I can't. You'll be fine. See ya. Smug Fox, thank you for gifting a sub to Fume. Frenchie, thank you for gifting a sub to Marth's Tip. Jesus, there's a lot of chat that I missed. All right. Where are we? Jesus Christ. I can't. Women don't want to date a narcissist, though, so maybe work on that beforehand. I mean, where is the line? Please don't call women females. I know. Where is the line behind narcissism and confidence? You don't want to be a narcissist. You should recognize the beauty of other people as well as your own flaws. But it's okay to have confidence. There's a fine line there. Okay, Jesus Christ. All right. We got a lot of questions, guys. I'm going through as many of these as I can. Jesus Christ. Okay. All right. We were on balancing relationships and work. We are now on to investing. Investing. I get the feeling like small sums of money could go into a variety of things, be it the stock market, tools to pursue marketable skills, such as buying Photoshop to become an artist who does commissions, music lessons to learn an instrument and become a career musician, getting a camera to practice photography, make an art portfolio, or other things. What are some opportunities you think are underrated or haven't been talked about enough? Big stuff that can be done with $1,000, $100, or even $20. What are some current investments you think that are making in 2021, and how do you look for good investment opportunities in the future? Basically, what are the telltale signs of something new you've heard on the grapevine worth looking into and possibly investing some money into? Whew. Dominic, if you want to ask a question, please ask in this thread here or join the Discord. Drink every time I say I'm not an accountant. I've already said it a couple times. We already had highways. So what's a good opportunity around you depends on what's good around you. I can know right off the top of my head right now in my nearby area, there is a massive lack of people that are willing to do just like random manual labor, like cleaning up a yard, mowing a lawn, cleaning out gutters, stuff that costs basically nothing outside of like a lawnmower. So maybe a couple $100. And you can get paid $50 more for doing it. But that's my area. I don't know. A lot of the things you talk about, Photoshop to become an artist, music lessons to learn an instrument, camera to practice photography, you have to decide like what are hobbies that people get paid for. Twitch streaming is a hobby people get paid for. I'm sorry. A lot of people do it as a hobby. They don't get paid for it. And then what is like work that people get paid for because other people do not want to do it themselves. And that is painting houses, fixing houses, cleaning up areas around houses, cleaning houses, lots of things like that, cleaning businesses, sometimes cooking food, shopping for people. Those are all things that you could do as either a side job or as a main job if you wanted to do. B-Sponge finds painting houses a mega fun. I would love to hire B-Sponge to paint my house. I'm not sure if I want B-Sponge painting my house, but I would love to have him do it. So you have to think about am I spending money on something that I need to actively do? Such as I'm going to buy tools to do a job and get paid directly for it? Or am I putting money into an investment that will passively grow over time? I mean, the stock market, I'm not a financial professional. S&P 500 can't really go wrong with anything like that. Just putting money into index funds grows pretty steadily. It might lose you money, but on average, it seems to do fairly well. So right now, I'm not looking on spending any money to get a new education or get some tools to do any jobs because I'm doing something. I guess I might invest money periodically into things for the stream. But outside of that, my money is just going to go into retirement accounts or investment accounts and things like that. Because I don't have the time to take on new jobs to use new skills. But for you, I don't know your situation. I don't know. Maybe you've got a lot of time. Maybe you've got some money. Maybe you're not happy with your job. And those are all things that you can use time to spend money on, either in education or on tools or other things to get money. If you are happy with your money and you want to invest into things like hobbies that might eventually pay you, I think that's fine too. I think that's what I have to say about that. I don't know what's going on about like religion in the Twitch chat. We don't have to stay on religion. If you're religious, it's great. If you're not religious, that's fine. We all live our own existence, and it doesn't have to go one way or the other. Okay, there we go. Approaching, but never getting approached. My biggest issue is that the friends I value. You're curious about the S&P 500? It's just an index. You can just put money in. Okay. My biggest social issue is that the friends I value the most, I end up reaching out to myself without them ever reciprocating that same love effort and contacting me first. Yeah. Now, that isn't to say I've ever reached out to, but I get anxious committing to a social event, be it a gathering, a video game session, or even a phone call that isn't 100% my own idea. So on one hand, I feel a bit hypocritical on one hand, being bothered by never getting contacted by some people. Yet I have a history of ghosting and ignoring other people as well. I wonder if you're from New England. This is like a very New England sentiment, but I don't know. And on the other hand, I've only ever been able to talk about this with one friend. They told me that I've never been the one to initiate contact, saying it's me, not you. It hurts me to feel like good friends of mine could go their entire lives without talking to me again if I weren't to hit them up. Should I break the ice with them in spite of how desperate I feel it sounds, saying, hey, you never called me first? I'm open to doing things too, so please don't try to contact me. Or should I reevaluate the friendship and potentially drop them purely on this basis? I think you're really making a lot of it and getting really stuck in your own head. Like it feels like you're getting anxious over whether people want to hang out with you to the point that they're like tracking you down versus you needing to hang out with other people because you need to track them down. As we get older, there's absolutely nothing wrong with scheduling time to hang out because people get busy. They get girlfriends, they get wives, they get husbands, they have children, they have jobs, they have other hobbies. And you will have to take the time to schedule time to hang out together. And that's completely fine. If you value your friendship with the other people and enjoy it, there's nothing wrong with being the ringleader of being the person in the group where it's like, guys, Tuesday nights we're going to hang out, we're going to play Monster Hunter or Call of Duty or a board game or watch a movie online. And the worst thing that your friends are going to say is, nah, I'm busy. Okay. And maybe your friend says they're busy 4 or 5 times in a row and you don't invite them anymore. That's fine. That's okay too. But let's hang out and watch Shepard together. But, you know, as you get older, maintaining relationships becomes harder. The best possible situation you could be in is to be friends with these people and you put in the minimal amount of effort to get people to hang out and they still willingly hang out with you. They're still your friends. They may not be the sort of person that goes out of their way to say, let's hang out, but they might be sitting there waiting for you to do it as well. Sama, we're doing okay. We are doing an advice stream. I promise I will try and at least one naked Elatrion this night. I am kawaii. No, you are kawaii des. Hardest part is finding time in every industry to do stuff. Well, you may not be able to find time with everyone, but find time with the people that you want to hang out the most, or set a time and say, hey guys, I'm going to be in the Discord Tuesday night, and stop by. You got to put yourself out there. And look, like we said, like not every relationship is going to last forever. And if you're finding that you've got a bunch of relationships that are going away because people are getting pulled away into other things, it's just natural to end up developing more relationships later on. Cycle of life. It sucks, but it happens. But it doesn't have to happen that fast if you are willing to be the one that goes out and gets people to go there. Yeah, you got to get over yourself. They may not be the type to want to organize things socially, but if they're still your friends and you like hanging out with them, don't feel like you're doing the wrong thing by being the one corralling them together. If anything, you're helping them. And you can take that in your heart as being like, I did the right thing by helping them. Jesus, there's a lot of questions. All right. What about getting everything you want in life and not being satisfied, wishing for more? That sounds like a great question. I would love for you to submit it in as much detail as you like here so I can get to it. Preparing for college. Hi, Shep. I'm going to start college soon, and I wanted to know if there was anything I didn't know before going. Is there a specific routine or things I should expect? College is a lot harder than high school in the sense that they expect for you to do all of the work on your own and just get the bare minimum when you go to class. So even if you feel like you're the smartest person at your high school right now and you don't need to put any effort in, just know that it's harder in college, and that if you want to get a lot out of it and a lot of education out of it, you're going to have to put the time into it. Like if you've got a course and there's 3 hours of lecture a week, you can be pretty sure that you should be spending about 3 hours a week working on stuff outside of there, be it studying or writing papers, if not more, or at least a little bit less. If you ever feel bad, just show up anyways. Well, if you feel sick, you shouldn't go in and get other people sick. My main advice for college is say yes to doing things with people because those will be the memories you cherish later on. Absolutely. You've got your whole life to play video games. And trust me, when you graduate college, you're going to play so many video games. Like, you're going to have so much time to play video games. You're like, wow, I didn't know I was going to have all this free time. Trust me, it's not going away. It's all right. It's still there. But when you're in college, that's a time to be around a lot of other people, meet a lot of people, and learn a lot of things about being around other people. You know, join clubs, go to parties, get into relationships, get out of relationships. Those are all great things to do. And like college is like a 4-year prep plan to get you massively in debt and learn a lot about yourself before you become an adult. So it's really good. You're going to have a really good time. It's a shame you have to go to college now during this weird ass time. But maybe it'll be better in the fall for you. I hope so. But yeah, you're going to do well. The only thing else, well, depends what country you're in. If you're anywhere else other than the United States, you're probably fine. If you're in the United States, you're going to be horribly in debt. But if you're anywhere else, you're going to be, enjoy being in debt. Well, yeah. The only other thing I'll say is like, you don't have to worry too much about picking your major right away, but think pretty heavily if you're going to a 4-year degree college about getting a degree that will prepare you directly for a job that will pay you. Because the alternative is you've got a 4-year degree that will prepare you for just any job that will take somebody that has a 4-year degree. And there's not a lot of value there compared to like knowing accounting or computer programming or engineering or anything else like that. Nice jacket. Thank you. What do I think about gap years? I worry a gap year could become a gap life. I mean, I would rather have a degree and then spend a year traveling after I've graduated than take a year before I go to college and like, I don't know, get pregnant or get someone else pregnant and then be like, oops, I guess it's going to be hard for me to go to college. But that's just a suggestion. I mean, I don't know. Maybe that wouldn't happen for everyone, but it could happen for some people. And that would be, not that the child isn't precious, but that could be a shame. I'm pregnant? I have you, Noxella. The question here is 4 seasons total landscaping. Will we ever have political streams again? We'll have political streams again when there is a significant enough political topic that I want to discuss. There's nothing on the horizon that I see, but you never know. Dating advice question. Been thinking a lot more recently about my own personality and how I'm still incredibly introverted and just overall afraid to initiate conversation with anyone who I don't already know, especially when it comes to girl. That's normal. Very fortunate to have friends that I can talk to and have serious conversations about this stuff, because if that wasn't the case, I'd likely be more depressed right now. Great that you've got friends. Been trying to work on this aspect of myself to a degree, but the first step is the hardest, as most will tell you. Just getting past those thoughts in your head that tell you as soon as you say something to her, she's going to start thinking, who is this weirdo? And all that kind of stuff. That's what always happens to me anyway. I remind myself constantly, don't assume what other people are thinking about you. And one way that I cope with these thoughts of rationalism is to do this. Take a situation, consider how I would react if I was the other person. So if I was a girl and someone like me who I didn't know came up to me, would I realistically think about that? Probably not what my thoughts assume they think. That assumption is very cynical and unrealistic. But the problem is just getting yourself to believe that. Any advice about how I can about making a more fundamental change in your mindset? I mean, you're already halfway there, right? I mean, you know, girls go through the same issues guys do when it comes to dating. You know, they have their own worries and concerns. You know, I think, I mean, you know, all right, there's going to be a certain bias. I'm streaming on Twitch. A lot of guys on Twitch. A lot of guys in their 20s, 30s, maybe teens on Twitch. So we're getting a lot of questions about guys coming from girls. But girls go through the exact same thing guys do. And the sooner you realize that, the less, like, oppressive and scary it is. Like, they have all the same things that you are. They're still just literally humans. Tiny bit different, at least chromosome-wise. But otherwise, like, they are just as nervous and just as worried about being in a relationship as you are. So don't worry about it so much. Like, you can focus all day long about what's wrong with me or what could I say that's wrong. Or you consider what are ways that I can improve myself, or what are ways that things I can do to make this a better experience for the other person. And the sooner you get over towards being productive and positive with yourself, the sooner you can get around to the idea of, I'm scared of dating someone because I'm worried of failure, or I'm worried about scaring this other person off. And you can think more about, actually, I have a lot to offer this person and I can make their life better by being with them. That's what it comes down to. You know, I can say pretty confidently, Jen makes my life better by being with me, and I make her life better by being with her. We are both way happier together than either of us would be completely alone. And you could be that person for somebody else out there if that's something that you want to do. So don't necessarily think about, I'm going to put a burden on them. Like, I'm going to inflict my gross, hairy sexual body on them. I'm going to be an affliction like a pox on them. I'm going to be dripping my sweat all over their innocent body. No. Like, they love you. They want to be with you. You know? And if you're in a relationship like that, you know, you want to make each other happy. I'm going to inflict happiness on them. Yeah. So don't always think about it like it's going to be a bad thing. Think about it like, I'm going to take him to dinner or lunch or coffee or whatever, and we're going to have a good time together. And if we hit it off, then maybe we can make each other happier. Change the category to just chatting at this point? I got to fight a Latrion. You'd let me sweat on... Thank you. How to get hit on. Hey, Shep. As a man in my country, I am pressured to be the initiator in a relationship and be the dom? But my dream is to be courted and flirted with like how they depict girls being in traditional romance stories. How do you think I could find a dom girlfriend or boyfriend in the wild that will take the lead and listen to me nerding out about my current hyperfixation for a week before I change my interests? Thank you. Well, if it's the norm in your country that you are going to be the pursuer and not the pursued, then that's going to be very rare, right? I mean, you have to wait either passively that you find somebody that's going to hit on you, or I think you need to put yourself into social networks where people will hit on you. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, you know, if you're a man in your country, it is just typically not normal that women are going to approach you and hit on you, because for whatever reason, there's, you know, there's that stigma, not deserved, but it's out there. I don't know why it exists, but it does. You might have to find yourself some very specific categories out there, dating websites for that. Or you can go to, I mean, if you're interested in a boyfriend, like, that's a lot easier. You can go to a gay bar. Doesn't mean you gotta date guys forever if you end up not liking it, but it sounds like you're interested in it. That's fine. Thunder God, hello. But if that's what you're into, I mean, try it out, I guess. I mean, what's the worst that's gonna happen? Nothing, really. That sounds more likely than happening across a random dom girlfriend. I just think that's just not likely. If anything, that could be you, again, making excuses for not being in a relationship and having this as an excuse for not putting yourself out there. Friends. Just went to a friend's bachelor party and realized how much I've fallen out with a lot of my old friends. How would you recommend trying to be closer with them again, despite living many states away? I mean, physical distance. Will this VOD be a highlight? I could at least highlight it. Physical distance is always going to suck. You can try and organize like a vacation once a year at like a cabin or a camp or a convention or anything, and invite everyone and get everyone's buy-in, and then just meet up that way. And then if you desire friendship with them on a more regular basis, I mean, you got video games. I don't know what else you're going to do. I mean, I don't think of my guy buddies and be like, I'm going to call them and hang up and watch Netflix over the phone, although I guess that could happen. But I might play video games with them. But I think that's really good. You know, I mean, if there's like a cabin nearby you or whatever, you can rent a cottage. Or if there's a convention you guys like to go to, I know those are probably on the outs now. Or, Jesus Christ, I mean, there's a lot of things that would be great that suck now. But, you know, like, you know, Airbnbs are cheap. Find the nearest central city for everybody and plan an Airbnb and get everybody together for a weekend. And I think if you feel that way, I bet you there's a lot of your old friends that feel that way. And I feel like a lot of your old friends would probably be down to meet up once a year, because that's not a huge commitment. That's one weekend. One long weekend, everybody meets up, drives up together, you know, drinks beer, eats some chicken wings and pizza. I mean, that sounds fun. I do it. They do it too. Dating scenes. Is there anyone in the Discord? No. Okay. Dating apps bother me, even though I've never used one. I already know I'm shooting myself in the foot ignoring apps, but is it foolhardy to exclusively look for a romantic relationship in the workplace or from communities I'm a part of? I guess I'm a believer in fate, just coming across someone like-minded and hitting it off, as opposed to meeting under very direct, obvious circumstances. Like with therapy, I'm happy it exists, yet I cannot stand using it myself. They feel interpersonal to me, non-organic. Should I give up my own stances and get over myself, or is it perfectly viable to search for and find people without ever using dating apps in 2021 and beyond? So, this is interesting. So, if you say you're a believer in fate, then you have to think about the things that fate favors, right? What things are you putting in your life to tip fate towards you? Are you doing things for yourself and putting situations for yourself together so that fate will go in your direction, right? So you could be like, I'll be in the perfect relationship when it happens. But if you just get really comfortable there, like you stop shaving, you don't work out, you don't comb your hair, you let your hair grow wrong, you wear dirty clothes, you've got old shoes, stuff like that, You might have just passed by your soulmate in a coffee shop and never hit it off because you did not put yourself in a situation where you can meet them. Just didn't happen. Now, we're talking about relationships in the workplace or communities or dating apps. You have to think about how many avenues do I want to give myself or give fate to send the right person to me. If you're only giving yourself one avenue, then you better hope that fate has it in for you real hard, because you're only going that one avenue. As opposed to, you know, I'm going to let my friends and my coworkers and my family know that I'm looking to get into a relationship. And then, hey, maybe you fill out an online profile as well. You know, fate favors the bold. Fortune favors the young, and fate especially favors the prepared. Can we watch the cats in the cooking area? Yeah, sure. Okay. That was dating scenes. Gaming. I only enjoy playing League nowadays. Can't get into single player games. Haven't even played the last 2 Monster Hunter games. Wow. Made over 10 Smurfs on League. The only enjoyment I seem to have nowadays is stomping noobs and flaming people on all chat. I usually ditch the account after I reach Plat and make a new one. What do I do to enjoy single player games like I used to? So, that sounds not super healthy. And you know that because you said it. I'm not saying it's the worst thing in the world. It's League. That's what everybody signs up for when they get into it. I think you just need to evaluate what makes you happy in terms of gaming. Maybe gaming's just not a hobby you enjoy as much as you used to. I mean, maybe it is. But if you're really caught up in just doing high intensity social experiences like pissing people off in League, then that's either something that you have to accept and embrace as part of yourself, or you need to just quit it like as much as you can. You know, like I can't, like, it's clearly it's a hobby for you. You know, I don't think it's a healthy hobby. I think it probably is fun in the moment, and then you probably feel pretty bad about it afterwards. But then again, I can't speak to you specifically. You know, you definitely enjoy a social engagement. I would see if maybe one of your friends who's never played Monster Hunter before might be interested in going through Monster Hunter World or Monster Hunter Rise together, and you could both experience it for the first time together. And that might be like a somewhat wholesome, kind of enjoyable thing the two of you can do together, and you can see if you actually enjoy Monster Hunter anymore, or maybe you just don't. At the very least, you're in a Monster Hunter stream, so you're at least casually interested in it, even if it doesn't directly appeal to you. But the nice thing about the new Monster Hunter games is they're pretty easy to play, they're pretty easy to get into, and it can be pretty fun playing with somebody getting into it for the first time, so I think that's about the best thing I could say. I don't think it's healthy. I don't think you should really indulge in that too often. I'd say only do your weird League thing like once a week and then cut that off. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that more than once a week, because that's just gonna be worse. That's like a bad habit. Laser hair removal. I'm gonna assume that this is a real question. Hey Sheppy, I hate having body hair and want to remove them in one of those laser hair removal salons, but I'm afraid I'll be judged because I'm a dude and the workers might be uncomfortable to laser around my hole. How do I force myself to tank the embarrassment and do it? I mean, assuming this is a real question. They see holes every single day, dude. All right. Yours isn't that special. All right. Just take a shower ahead of time and show up. Spritz a little perfume on it if you're that worried. It's nothing they haven't seen before. Retirement. I've got some very generous stock options through work, and after trading over the past 2 years, made enough to retire. Congratulations. After taking a few months off work, all I do these days is watch you stream and play Monster Hunter. Oh. Well, I'm glad I entertained you at the least. Is it worth doing nothing for the rest of my life for the sake of comfort, or would going back to work be more fruitful? Thanks. I mean, I think it depends on what value you find. I mean, I'll say two things to this, and there's kind of two ends to the dichotomy. I'll start with the opposite first. My father-in-law retired like 15 years ago. It was some insane amount of time ago. It was at least 10 years ago. And yet, every single year, he goes back and basically works full-time anyways. Because he never had any hobbies. And it gets crazy because every summer he's done with his schoolwork. He drives his wife, my mother-in-law, crazy because like he's got nothing to do. And he just like paces around all day bothering people because he's got nothing to do. Doesn't have any hobbies. Sometimes he'll hang out with his buds and play cards or whatever. But for the most part, he like needs something to do. Jen, God love her. I love her. Best person in my life. She's like a little bit the same way, okay? The first summer we lived in this house together, I was like, I'm going to put you in a cave. Because she had like 3 months off, and every single day she had like a list of things she wanted to do. I'm still working full time. I'm like, you're going to go in the cave. I did not put her in a cave. I'm sorry. I don't have all the free time that you do. I'm still working full time. I don't got all the time to do all these projects. Since then, she's found more hobbies and she talks to her friends a lot more, and her sister had children. So she just goes over and she hangs out with the kids. And so we're fine. On the opposite end, you are very lucky, very gratefully, retired early. And it seems like you're going to have at least financially be secure for the rest of your life. I can't tell you in what way your life direction is supposed to go in terms of you being satisfied. I think it sounds pretty damn relaxing and pretty nice to be able to enjoy a relative life of leisure and relaxation. You know, I would just say maybe make sure that you've got something that you could plan each week that you can do to feel productive and feel some meaning and some value. Because I do feel like too far on the other extreme, you could wake up in 6 months or a year or be like, yeah, what am I doing all day? You know, I feel like you should find something, and it doesn't have to be anything major. But be it, you know, reading or being in a reading group, being exercising, you know, anything, movie review group, something like that, just to feel like, you know, at the end of each day, or at the very least, at the end of each week, you can think back to yourself, I've accomplished this one goal. I don't think necessarily you have to go back to work. If you don't need money, like, screw it. Like, who wants to work for somebody else? But I think it's important to be proactive at making sure that you're satisfying that need to satisfy the need to produce. Awesome randomizer, what you did one time. You're the best. You're awesome. Thank you, Shadow. That was Albino Donkey in the Discord. We still have the randomizer available if you want to try and run it yourself. Maybe I'll run it again sometime, just like maybe I will kill a naked Elatrion. How to channel energy into self-improvement. My motivation seems to only exist when another person is involved. My hobbies start and usually persist because somebody asks me to. Oh, ZMTL, I'm coming out to lurk to tell you that this is amazing. Liz 2 while grinding stuff in Freedom Night. You're amazing at this. Thank you, ZMTL. The Alatreon is also naked true. For example, I will never watch anime or shows on my own. Oh, that's interesting. This mentality prevents me from creating projects for myself since I'm usually productive to solve problems. I'm a software engineer, but I never code for my interests. In a way, it's a laziness, but I really want to help others. How do I channel all this effort I put for other people into myself? So, I mean, just from the outset here reading this just feels to me like you're a very extroverted person that really likes being social with other people. And I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with that. I mean, you're obviously still good at stuff because you're solving problems. You know? I mean, that just sounds like that's who you are. You know, if there's something in your life that you feel like you should work on, I think you could use that mentality of being good for the group and use that as, hey, I work with these other people. If I do this, I could be better, and then I could be even more awesome in this group or this hobby. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You know, I mean, not every person out there is going to be, you know, the Sigma male grind set, man as a mountain, woman as a mountain, whatever, defining their own life and being their own independent island. You can absolutely be connected with other people in that way. And if you want to improve yourself in some ways that you think will help others, that's awesome. I don't really think that's a problem. Other than if you want to become better because that might improve your group in some way, I think that's cool. I wish more people were like that. That would be great. That'd be great if everyone was like that. What is the whole Sigma male thing? It's a meme, but it's meant to indicate somebody who would otherwise be an alpha male, but is not an alpha male because they don't do it for the validation of others. They do it for themselves. What armor set would I grind for? Brachy or Tigrex? I mean, probably I would mix them. What, Brachy's got Agitator and Tigrex has got like Speed Eater and Free Meal. I'd probably use like the Tigrex arms and like everything else Brachy. Depends on the weapon though. Just college advice. Hi, streamer. I'm 26. Me too. Finally happy again, fresh out of therapy and taking my meds, exercising and eating healthy. Wow, good for you. Honestly, happier than I ever, but I do have a question. Like I said, I'm 26 and I spent the last 5 years of my life improving myself and learning how to deal with my depression and severe anxiety. And I was wondering if I should still make college my number one priority, or should I make a career out of something and then start college? Advice would be appreciated, thanks. By the way, show whole. Wide people happy. Okay. So this goes a little bit more into what I was saying earlier in the stream. There's a general correlation for the number of years that you spend in education and the amount of money you end up making over the entirety of your life. So 26 is still very young, and it's still plenty of time to get a 4-year or even 6 or 8-year education. Sodom is a little right in that as you get older, there's a little bit less chance to make mistakes, but 26 is still very young. So I wouldn't feel any guilt or depression or any anxiety over the fact that you're 26. You know, there are plenty of people that go to school much later than that and end up doing fine in life. I would just say maybe make sure if you do go to school, be it a trade school or 2-year degree or 4-year degree or longer, that it's something that you can think, I could get this degree and come out of college and start working in a field that will pay me right away. If you're 18 and you go to college and you graduate, 17, 18, you graduate 21, 22, and you've got like a chump degree that isn't going to do anything specific for you in the workplace, you still got plenty of time to fix that mistake. You just have a little bit less time to do that. Paul Mac, hello. Look in a suit, looking cute. I'm just taking questions. Just want to say that I just got here and I made you feel so much better. Oh, I'm happy. You know, it depends where you are. If you're in, The United States, you got to be real specific. If you're in another country, you'll probably make a couple more mistakes. You streamed today bullying Xeno because the amount of times she has bullied you? Hell yeah, Shadow. I love anthropology, but your degree in it isn't worth the paper it's printed on since it's not a master's or PhD. Yeah, I know. It sucks. That's why I say, like, make sure it's something that's going to more immediately generate a return on investment, more now than ever, especially in the US, because college is just so expensive. Guys, we're getting through all the questions. We might actually see a naked Xeno. Routines. Thank you for the advice. You're welcome. Do you think that, say, a morning routine and or other routines are a good first step to getting a life back together? For reference, I'm on absolute goblin time, a student who isn't employed, who eats infrequently, bathes at random times, does laundry only when is absolutely necessary. I'm a total mess nowadays. Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Routines and habits. If you can sit down and write on a sheet of paper all of the things you should do, that you know you should do, and then think about ways that you can do those things so you can make that into a routine or a habit, that's how you make sure you do those things. Think about it this way. When you go to back your car out of the driveway or out of the spot that you're in right now, you have the habit and the routine of pulling down your seatbelt, right? It's a habit. You do it automatically. You do it every single time. And so eating your breakfast, eating a right breakfast when you wake up, taking a shower, flossing your teeth, brushing your teeth, putting on clothes, doing laundry when you need to do laundry, exercising. These are all things, a lot of assumptions there. Okay, that's something you should wear a seatbelt when you drive. Don't get caught up on the analogy, guys. It's an analogy for a reason. But the more things in your life that you can do, that you should do, that you make a habit, and it's a routine, the more likely it is that you're going to do those things regularly. And the easier it is to do those things again when you fall off the wagon and stop doing those things. If you don't wear clothes, you don't do laundry. Well, then you got to get like a weird latex cover for your computer chair to not get your ass grease on it. So I have got a recommendation. I am not sponsored by them, and I actually think parts 2 and parts 3 of the book suck. You've had a headache for 2 days, and your tummy's been bad for 3 days. Give a diagnosis. Sounds like you might have a cold. I hate this book. This book sucks, but the first couple chapters are really good. It's like the first 1 or 2 chapters. It's called The Power of Habit. I'm going to use a referral link just because it's not like a million characters long. And it basically spends the first 2 to 3 chapters talking about the psychology of how we build a habit and how to change habits. And then you can use that knowledge to force yourself into building new habits that will then end up being better for you. Counts as sponsored now? Oh, too bad. Get me. Come for my asshole, FTC. Or FTC. It's so important. You know, if you're trying to quit smoking or stop drinking or exercise or get out of a negative headspace or any one of those things, building good habits is pretty much the most important thing you can do in order to improve your life. Just learning that one skill will then have all sorts of knock-on effects to help build you other skills that will end up improving your life in a lot of different ways. Learn to dodge Nerd Gigante Spike Dive. You will get better at a lot of other things in Monster Hunter. What would you do if you fought a Xenojiva Xenomorph? I would probably die. I would probably be dead. All right, I think we actually got through all of the questions. We have about time for... No, wait, there's one more question. Work. Hey, Shepard. I'm fresh out of college and working my first full-time job. At 5 o'clock, I'm at my absolute limit, so I just get home and sleep for a few hours, wake up and eat, spend a few hours futzing around, and sleep at 12 or 1 to wake up at 7, do it all over again. Talked with my boss about scheduling, and he was kind of dismissive, but he knows it's my first time working full-time and has been sympathetic before. How can I improve the situation? So, you your boss is a little bit right here in that it's not his job to fix your work-life balance. Now, there's nothing wrong with getting home and being tired. But if you're only at work 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, 40 hours a week, then there's still plenty of time for hobbies and exercise and relationships. You know, I don't know if that's going to come down to time management. I don't know if that's going to come down to what you do when you get home. A lot of people, when they get home, first thing they do is sit on the couch, get a snack, and just start mindlessly browsing YouTube for a couple hours. In your case, I guess you take a nap. It sounds like that nap is screwing you up. I'm not saying don't take that nap. I love napping. But it sounds like there's a lot of time in your day that isn't necessarily sorted and categorized in any significant way. And you're feeling like you're taking it out on work, and it's not work. If you're only working 40 hours a week, there's plenty of time to get all the things done that you need done. And as far as I would know, you still have time on your lunch break to get some things done as well. So, not saying your boss is a dick. Maybe a little bit of a dick. They probably could have given you some good life advice instead of just completely dismissing you. But there is definitely, I mean, that's definitely like, that's definitely a you problem and not a his problem. Unless he's working you 60, 70, 8 hours a week, in which case that is kind of a his problem and not your problem. And it's like, what the hell, give me some time. But if it's only 40 hours a week, there should be time. And it's going to come down to figuring out your time management and what you want to do and how you want to do it. So that's one of the things you learn. You know, I don't want to be dismissive myself, but you know, those you'll pick up what works for you and what doesn't work for you. What I can tell is I don't think that nap's working for you, man. I would not do that nap. I would get home, I would eat, I would get everything done, and I would try to go to sleep at like 10 or 11 o'clock at night and save the futzing around for the weekend. But I don't know. Okay. Done with the questions? No, there's still more. Jesus Christ, you guys aren't stopping. How are we ever going to fight Elatrion? Would I ever even do if you seen a baby Xeno on my doorstep? I would run away, or I would probably die. Is it gaming burnout or something else? Hey, Shep, I have plenty of time daily to play video games, but lately I just spend the time browsing games, trying to decide which game to play and not deciding. Meanwhile, in the back of my head, I have the desire to play something I already have played a lot, but I don't play it because it's like I want to force myself to play something new, but I cannot find it. And when I look for a game, I cannot find one that appeals to me. What's wrong? I think you feel guilty playing the same game daily every day. But as somebody who plays Monster Hunter like 50 hours a week, professionally, ain't nothing wrong with that. Be happy that you have a game you can turn to and provides you comfort on a regular basis. Just play the game you want to play. Am I wearing dress pants or am I undies? I am in man tights. Sounds like depression? We talked about that early in the stream. I am not a psychiatrist or a therapist in any way. One sign of depression is no longer finding joy in the things you used to find joy in. There's absolutely nothing wrong with seeing if your health insurance or otherwise would help provide for talking to a therapist online just to talk it out. Could be the signs of anxiety or depression. You never know. I certainly don't want to suggest to this person that they are depressed. Tights are gendered now. No, I'm just wearing tights. And they're on a man, so they're man tights. How does the suit? Does it fit the same as it used to? I lost a little weight. So it could probably be tailored a little bit more. But I mean, it fits okay. I mean, it looks all right. Squatty potty or bidet? Also, how likely are you to do another one of these? The stream was very nice. Very, very nice. I'm glad you liked it. Ideally both. I have both. And I use both. I look incredible? Thank you. No subject. Okay. Okay. It's just a meme. All right. I look really cool. Thanks.